What's the first thing women notice? Your face. That's why you got to take care of. Simple things like getting a haircut, grooming your face, and brushing your teeth is important. But there's one thing guys miss and that women always notice. It's when a guy isn't taking care of his skin. That's why I'm so excited to have T. Shanley as a sponsor of today's video. T. Shanley simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Seriously, I don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: daily face wash, exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with an SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer. But and to make it dead simple for you guys, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. But because T just sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description and get 40% off your first skincare system and free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll get 20% off for life. By the way, one of their new gift options is a silicone body scrubber, which is a $20 value and a complete game changer. Once you use this, you'll never go back to a regular loofah ever again. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today.
Smoke time.
Everything is straight.
It's go time. I see you, time. What's going on, family? How y'all doing? Welcome to the show. Let me go introduce the crew. We got Miss Tap from the shop. Pretty Gold, Chris the Poet, that's Moan, it's Take Man, Billy Holiday, Pete, and myself on the DJ, y'all. Welcome. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Good.
Doing good. Dad, you look so cute.
Ooh, yes.
I love this. I love the earrings and everything. Ow.
Shout out to that, man. All we got to do is get you one of those little picks with the fist on there. Yeah, there you go.
Put
right
the
on.
pick in my head, the gold pick.
Yeah, there you go. Anyhow,
That fro is neat. Like, it is neat.
That's how you know it's getting healthy.
That's a goddamn wig mistake. Don't fall for that bullshit. I know that's right there. I see you, man. I see you.
all right. Well, shout out to Dad, man, for taking it back to the natural. She should be shooting her up and coming film. So salute to her for that. Anyhow, how y'all doing, man? Good to see you guys. Today is Wednesday. Happy to be here. I see Gina was very active in the chat already, giving her take. So whenever you guys get a chance, make sure y'all comb through it. See what she's been saying. One of the things she said was, what's considered broke? As long as a man know how to sustain himself, then that should be considered sufficient, including the baseline attributes a person should have, vice versa. So yeah, Gina had a lot to say already. Black women refuse to date broke men is the main topic. But before we do, let me bring Aisha up here. Somebody else dropped off. Somebody was that. I don't know who that was. It dropped off, but they'll be coming in. We have some more folks coming in. What's going on, William Playboy Williams? What's going on, Therese? How you doing? Gina was talking about your hair too as well. Isaiah's in the house. What's going on, Jay? Jay's talking about Gina. Said the show ain't even started yet, and she's real active. William says salute to Hink. So you do have a fan out there, Hink. I was mistaken that had dropped. Struggle streaming already, huh? Thank you.
No, I actually was trying to kill a fruit fly, and I hit something, and
Okay. Well, just
my
hopefully,
bad.
there's only one of them, because sometimes
It was.
you flying right by your mouth and your nose. But let's go ahead and open it up, man. Black women refuse to date broke men. Just in 2 sentences, I asked the ladies, just in 2 sentences, is this a thing? Broke, does money really matter when it comes to dating somebody? Did it matter? Does it matter now versus back in the day? What's your stance on it? Go ahead, Tab. We start with you first. We just go around.
I mean, I agree with what the young lady in the comments said. It depends on what you mean as broke. I feel someone is broke if they do not have a job at all. As long as he's working, then we can make something happen.
As long as he's working, huh? You're making $25K. That should be cool. As long as he's working. Work it out.
You put it together, we can make something happen.
Okay,
Once again.
I like that.
Look.
Yeah, you never know. That 25 might be 50. That 50 might be 75. Next, you might just jump up to a quarter million.
You know, Jay, I'm interested in hearing 2 people's opinion about this. I'm really interested in these 2 individuals. I'm not gonna say their name because I think the ladies know who they are, but I'm very interested in hearing their opinions.
Hey, we got to give Ty her flowers though. Big shout out to Ty.
Yeah, a bit more realistic.
Shout out to you, Ty. I see what you're doing.
Go ahead, Miss Brittany Gold. How you feel about
Okay, Hank. I swear, when I saw the topic, I'm like, oh, I already know. Hank is about to go in. I do think you have to define broke because it can vary per person. But personally, I would not date a man if he's unemployed. So to Ty's point, or underemployed if we're dating. Marriage is different. I'm not talking about my husband, hard time, situation change. I'm strictly talking about somebody I'm getting to know, somebody I'm going out with to determine whether or not I want something with this person or not. I would not date a man who's unemployed or underemployed because what can he put into the relationship when it's about priorities? His focus should be on doing what he needs to do for himself to be able to sustain and thrive. You know what I mean? So I don't think a person who's unemployed or underemployed has that energy to do that. And I don't want a potential liability. I don't want someone who, I end up getting into a relationship with who has shown me who he is and what he can bring to the table or lack thereof. And now I'm having to juggle my emotions that I'm now, dealing with because I allowed myself to go there with him. So if somebody's underemployed or unemployed, I'll be their friend, but we're not dating.
What's underemployed?
Underemployed, in my opinion, is someone who really is operating on a hope, and don't butcher this because I love my prayer, but someone who's just operating on hope and a prayer, they might be doing like odd end jobs, picking up a job here and there just to make ends meet, living maybe like, I don't want to say paycheck to paycheck because I know a lot of us have gone through that, but I'm just saying someone who might just be working odd end jobs. It's nothing consistent in place. So.
Okay. Underemployed. Haven't heard that word used too often. Go ahead, Miss Taken. The question is, how do you feel about money when it comes to men?
I think that it has a lot to do with your age and stage in life. I think that the younger you are, dating somebody broke with the potential, you have enough time to kind of build with that person, right? So the expectation isn't that he's going to be six figures or a millionaire. So you're okay. And more than likely, you probably don't have anything either. So you guys are working together to build something the younger that you are, like in your early 20s and things like that. But I think when you are of a certain age, like in your mid to late 30s, your 40s, at that point, the expectation should be very different. You should not be, and this is vice versa. That you should not be dating anybody broke, because other priorities need to be put in place, meaning your financial, need to be put in place before you're seeking to partner with anybody else. So for me, it's the don't date broke anybody after you hit a certain age. Y'all
Okay.
shouldn't be building it. I ain't gonna say not building at that point, but it should be more of an adding to, right? You're adding to what has already been built and making it better.
All right. Go ahead, Aisha. Coming to you now. See you smiling already, man. We talking about money, so I know.
I think I already know what I'm about to say. Like, I'm not dating anybody broke. Like, that's just not logical. I mean, it's unnecessary stress. I am not covering the bag. I just don't believe in that. Like, I'm like, a man should take care of a woman. You know that I'm a Southern girl. Like, I think that a man should take care of a woman, and if you're in these relationships, then you should be able to do that, because as Brittany stated, it just causes problem and stress later on. And I know for me, it's a defense mechanism, because I've been there, done that, and I'm not carrying the load. I know how stressful that is. And then you have all this potential, kind of like the movie Acrimony. Like, you held this man down for 20 years and it will make you go crazy. So to just control my sanity, I know that I'm not dating a brokey. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to even talk to you, because I can smell money. So I know when you don't have any. So not talking to you.
Hey, but he cashed Shorty out though.
Yeah, I was
Like,
gonna say he ran into the money. She gave up too fast.
downstairs on the table.
Hey, let Aisha live her best. Like she said what she said. Stand on that, man.
Yeah, he gave her like 20 million.
I haven't seen a movie yet, but
After how long though? You see what I'm saying? You know how much I just feel like you can never get your time back. I feel like that works. Like, you can never get your time back. Like, the stuff that he put her through, I just don't feel like it was worth it. I feel like you can never get your time back.
What did he put her through?
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Did y'all not see what she went through in that movie? She was stressed.
She did that to herself.
She did it all to herself.
What movie?
Acrimony.
I'm talking about Acrimony.
Oh,
She did that to herself though, to a certain degree. Like, she knew
To a
that
certain degree.
She
It
knew
wasn't
that he
to
was
no certain degree.
She knew he was a struggling entrepreneur. He was trying to build something bigger than either one of them could see. So it was her choice to stick through it. First of all, it was her choice to drive that car into that trailer and make herself barren. Then it was her choice to stick through it and then give up.
Oh, that's why me and Brittany choose not to.
So wait, I have a question. That's the one where at the end she was on the boat and she
killed herself out of anger.
I ain't gonna lie, her sisters played a part in that too.
No, she ain't kill herself. She got caught in the anchor.
Right. Trying to attack them, she ended up killing herself.
Right.
I kind of want to get it back on track, y'all. I haven't seen Acrimony, and some folks might not, but
it's not worth it, bro. It ain't worth it. Save your brain cells.
God damn.
Aisha, I got a follow-up question. So you said that you're not dealing with a broke man. How do you feel about a woman that is doing okay? Maybe she's doing about 25, 30. So she's really in the same boat as him. depending on how you look at broke, right? So do you think that if you find any issues with that, or should she be matching what he's bringing to the table as well when it comes to finance?
I think that that's up to that man's interpretation. I think that most people, they date on their level. You know what I mean? Even guys do that. You'll see randomly work out like, oh, I just went and got this random bartender and I'm a millionaire. How often do you really see things like that happen? Most people date on their level. And I just think that if you date on your level, you won't run into that. Now, if I meet a guy and he's like, I make 25,000, I'm just gonna be like, how are you surviving? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to automatically make me feel like I'm going to have to carry the load. And maybe he's comfortable with that. I have a cousin that's very much so like, I want to stay in my trailer on my acre. I'm cool with life. And she's some people are very much so happy living a humble life, right? And some people, that's what it is. But I would have to say, you're going to be living on that acre in that trailer by yourself, because that's not for me. It may be for someone else, just not for me.
Okay. It's Coco Stiletto coming to you next, ma'am. How you feeling about this? Men not having money, men potentially being broke. How do you view men and money?
We didn't play a clip because I know I came on late. We didn't play a clip or anything.
No, we didn't play a clip. Just general opening question, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm still stuck on the underemployed because I'm gonna start using that one. Underemployed is definitely the temporary employed person. Temp jobs here and there, a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there, no consistency. I can't do it. I did that when I was in college. I was in my 20s, you know, when I really didn't care what he was doing because I was focused on what I was doing, having fun. But yeah, like I think it was like Isha just said, like most people date in their realm. So, and it's just interesting because, like what's the name said, oh, you make 25,000, how you survive? Some idiot out there is gonna say, oh, she a gold digger, you know, whatever it is. I've heard that before too. So, yeah, I mean, I don't understand why it would even be an issue that certain women or men have a certain level of what they don't want to deal with. I mean, at the end of the day, you're grown. And if I don't feel like you make enough money to just take care of yourself, then you're a liability to come into my life. So at least the minimum is that you can take care of yourself, your livelihood, consistent job, transportation. If you can do that, you can easily move in, you know, slide in and meet somebody like me. But if you're not there, I'm just not doing it. Like, I don't have the patience, and I'll probably be making ugly faces at you all the time. So that's how I feel.
Okay. Go ahead, Di.
From somebody who used to date broke men, I just decided this year I'm not dating broke men no more. I'm over it. I don't care if you have something going for yourself or if you think you have something going for yourself, because if you broke, obviously not, right? I'm just over it.
Come on.
It's not, when broke men comes with more issues than financial issues. I'm gonna just say that they come with insecurities, they come with entitlement, they come with like they're too comfortable where they're at. Probably not all broke men. Maybe it's just the broke men I come into. I come into a lot of broke men with really great potential, but unfortunately, I do not know how to feed that potential without enabling them. So me, no, like they said, you have to meet me where I'm at. I did that in my 20s. I am now 33. I'm not wasting my 30s on things that I've done in my 20s. I think the older that we get, that like Miss Taken said, the older that we get, we both should be coming to the table with a lot of things, right? You don't want a woman that's 30 and 40 years old and still don't know how to control her attitude, someone that doesn't know how to articulate herself, someone that doesn't know how to communicate, you know? So just my opinion, I'm not with it. Early 20s, yes, that's cool, but nah, I'm not with it no more. It's taking a stance this year.
Okay. Well, okay. Go ahead, Billy. What are your thoughts about this men and finances?
I feel someone who has dated women for 30 years, I was chuckling as I listened to all the women talk about how they won't. I believe it's just in a woman's nature not to, because it don't matter if they want men or women, all women want the same thing. And that is to be treated like a queen and be upheld like they daddy or maybe their mother has raised them to be, period, across the border. I'm telling you, there's women who just won't give you the time of day, regardless of who you are, because of what you have. That's just period. It's in their nature. And I'm a person who's a woman who just like women. So I get it. In the same breath, I don't want a woman that don't have anything. I had one woman say to me, I need someone with the 3 C's. And she didn't even have the damn 3 C's, but she wanted someone with the 3 C's. You feel me? So
what's the 3 C's? I'm sorry. I'm
the
slow.
3 C's are a car, a crib, and a career. And I said, okay, I had them all 3. So I'm like, okay. I said, so do you have the 3 C's? No. So why did you even bring it up? See, it's in the nature. She didn't have it, but yet you have to have it. So it has to be I don't know if you can see my hand. He laughing. He's cracking up, but I was so chuckled of the topic of the day, because my cousin texted me. She said, shit, I was worried about you being a lesbian, but you're gonna be fine because you're experiencing this now. So it's crazy. I just feel that that's what they want. That's what they want. Now it's up to us, whoever loves them, to say, okay, but you have to have it, but they don't. That's all I'm saying. I didn't come to start no fires.
Y'all go ahead.
I have a question for you, Billy.
Okay.
So, because you just cleared it up, because I wasn't sure. So since you said that you're a woman that date women, so do you take on that role?
Yes.
That's how.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not comfortable dating broke. I feel like if I'm broke, I shouldn't be dating either. Like, nah. When I like that shouldn't be my focus as a man if I'm broke.
I agree. I feel like people should come whole. It's about 2 whole individuals coming together, not one who's there to make up for what the other person, can't do for themselves. You all can come together with all of your gifts and talents and money and do something, but don't come if you can't even take care of yourself, if you're not whole as an individual.
So what happens when life happens? And
that's different.
Okay, but hold on. If I'm just if life happened and I was rolling, I was good. Life happened. I meet you, me and you, bang, we connect. But I'm coming to you saying, look, life happened, but these are the steps I'm going to take. This is my plan. This is how I expect it. I can't have any time to show you that.
I'm going to say, I got you. I'm cheering you on. You got this. But we're going to revisit that once you do XYZ. If you're still available.
You foot in the door with me. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but you can't leave me like that. You got to kind of date me every now and then. You kind of got to peek in to see what I'm doing.
Right.
How it's going.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a little peekaboo action going on.
If it's not moving up, then you don't fuck with me. I don't know if I can curse. But if it's not moving, if it's staying there,
speak your truth.
Leave me then. But if it's every time you see me, I'm like, babe, I picked up 2 more accounts. You like, all right. Next time you see me, I picked up 5, but you didn't give me a chance because I ain't have it. Watch me. And if I
would deal with somebody like that though. Like if I saw them putting the effort, well, I wouldn't commit to them, like I said before.
Yeah, come on, don't sit there lying down.
Like I believe you. Who I am as a person, I'm a cheerleader.
Billy, I'm glad you believe it.
cheer you on. I'm gonna make connections if I can, if I have the capacity to do so. I'll send business your way, depending on what you do. If I have an opportunity to make those connections or add value, I'm doing that. But I will not be that person who's yours exclusively. You know what I mean?
As a woman who dated women and now date men, like I said, even as a woman now, if I had absolutely nothing and I couldn't take care of myself, I'm not about to date a man and I can't take care of myself. And back then, when I used to date women, I was more the masculine one. I'm not even comfortable dating and asking a girl to be my girl because, like you said, Billy, you already know how it's gonna go. So it's like for you to even be comfortable enough to pursue somebody but not have the tools and what's necessary to pursue them, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just like get yourself together first in that area, because now we're building homes like 20s and stuff. You just building bonds probably on a college campus. You know what I'm saying? You're not worried about nobody paying your bills. But after a certain age, it's like, nah, I'm not doing it, because it's a red flag. Because why is you so thirsty for me, but you ain't got your life together? Now I'm like, what's your motive?
So would you stick around to see it change and to see it, or you would just want him to go do what he do and come back? You'll stick around a little
I
bit?
wouldn't mind having a friendship, but I will make sure he understands that this is a friendship. Because sometimes when you tell guys it's a friendship, they still want to pursue and be entitled to certain things. I'm not asking you for nothing. Don't offer to do anything for me. I'm not going to accept anything from you.
Okay.
We're friends. And then once I see that you're meeting that potential, of course, because the thing is, if you're that person with potential and not just a brokey, you're going to be able to have that conversation, right? I'm going to be able to sail through conversation if you really about what you say you about, because you got to have a certain type of experience. If you was on and you fell off, that means you're experienced in certain things, like how you manage your money, how you take care of your bills. You probably even got some money on the back end to help you while you're in that low, stance, especially after a certain age. So yeah, you might be broke, but you still, because you were doing what you were supposed to do, you got money to make sure you good while you're getting on your stuff. That's different. Brokey mean broke, no savings, nothing. Like you have no, like she said, when you look at your resume, it looks like you jump from job to the point that the employer don't even want to hire you because you haven't been consistent in working. Those are like, I had to realize what red flags were.
Y'all just told people to be okay with doing that a couple weeks ago. From jumping
like I said,
job
in
to
your
job.
20s is cool. 30s, and you see that they are still jumping from job to job 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 1 year, 6 months, 6 months. And then let's say they also not even in the same field. Those are red flags, because what are you really doing with your time? People who are consistently working to work towards something is going to show in their life. It's going to show on their resume. That's like, just look at their resume.
I have a quick question. Would you have the same expectation if the roles were reversed and you guys were, like, let's say, dating in the way that you were dating, or y'all were in a relationship, that the expectation was, I'm going to be responsible for this, part financially, you'll be responsible for this, and then you lost your job, or something happened where your funds are no longer the way that it is. Do you expect the man to step in and then just cover everything until you get back on your feet so you can contribute or do whatever it was that y'all were doing before that y'all agreed upon? Or do you expect him to also be like, you know what, I'm a fall back and allow you the space to get back on your feet? And then, once you're on your feet, then we can revisit this relationship.
Miss Taken, when the people do that, are they living in the same house when they doing that, or are they living in like separate houses?
Well, I don't know, because that wasn't defined when y'all were having this conversation.
Oh,
so
okay.
whatever it was, based on the conversation
I
that
think
y'all
it was
had,
like the first guy approached.
I think that we're having
thinking more towards just the behavior.
Conversations. I think that's two different conversations. I think it's a conversation. It's different if you're in a marriage. For those of us, if you're in a marriage or you're in a long-term relationship and your partner loses their job or falls on hard time, or you use your job, absolutely, you guys are there to pick each other up when you fall down, right? It's a partnership. But we're talking about if you just meeting Who Shot John off the street, like you don't know this man. Like, no, you're not going to be inclined to be like, yeah, you know what I mean?
So,
Because I feel like just like men have
her
options,
question
women
is
have
if
options
if it's
too.
reversed.
So
Her
when
question
we're
is
being
if it's
selective,
reversed.
we have an issue, but you guys can be selective.
So what is when you
Yeah,
guys
they
based
not
on
in
what
here
y'all
though.
was saying,
We just heard.
based on what
Her
you guys
question
was
was that if
saying
it's reversed.
before with the dating, I don't know what parameters or what level of dating we're speaking from, because that wasn't clearly defined. So I'm just saying, based on when you were saying, you wouldn't date broke men, they need to get themselves together, or if they didn't have their money, then we're going to be friends. Whatever the parameters were around what you considered dating, I'm just saying that same thing, but just in reverse. So I would assume when you're saying you're dating and you're at that point, let's say you're at least 6 months in, 6 to 8 months in, and this happens. Are we still moving that same way, or is different based on how long you've been with the person? If it's 1 month in, I can understand that. If it's 1 month in, but if you gave like maybe 6 to 8 months, are you moving the same way?
I think
Can
it's
I
about
chime
the
in?
level of. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say, so where I'm from, the way I was raised, the men I was raised around, they would ask their grandfather, their uncle, they would ask for some money from somebody else before they exposed to the woman that they ain't got it. So what I have noticed is that these brokies expose themselves right away, okay? And some of them do it right in the first couple of months. So to answer your question, I'm a type of person, as soon as a guy, we getting to know each other and you trying to pursue me, and one of the conversations come up is, man, my rent behind, like I'm broke, I got short. As soon as you start talking to me about shortage and money, red flag for me. Because already you don't even know how to hustle and make sure that my mental is all right. You want me to know right away that you missing some money so I can automatically, if I'm dumb enough to do that, to volunteer and be like, what you need? Because that's what I'm thinking. Why would a guy want to volunteer that information right away when they meet somebody? And I had that experience when I first moved here to Arizona. I met a guy and it was like 2-3 weeks in, we were talking every day. And then all of a sudden he was, he sent me a text, was like, man, like I'm short $1,000 on my rent. You think you can spot me for a couple of weeks? In my mind, I'm thinking like, damn, like if you didn't meet me 3 weeks ago, who was you gonna ask for the money then? Boop, 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 block. Okay? So they're gonna expose themselves anyway. If we 6 months in and you lose your job, and the first thing you're doing is looking at me about what I'm gonna do, and I haven't seen you assess the situation, let me make some phone calls or something, I'm turned off, because you need to show me that you about to hustle first before you look at me like, what am I supposed to do? So yeah, 6 months is still too early for me. Depend on how you play it out. Now, if you done lost your job, and I see you hustling or whatever, and I see you making moves, and I'm gonna be like, okay, well, let me move in and help him out too. But if your first option is to let me know that you tripping, you short, get away from me. Scram. There you go.
Hey, so I got a question. Nobody answered Mistaken's question. Like everybody just ignored it and just kept talking about what y'all was talking about. So is no one willing to answer her question?
I think if we're 8 months in and he loses his job,
no, she said if you lost your job, if you don't have a job,
if you're broke,
if I'm broke,
yes.
Oh, I already told y'all I'm not dating, so.
So if
right,
you're
so I feel like
I'm not asking.
I agree with God. If I'm broke, I'm not dating nobody. I'm in the house trying to get my money up.
But her question was more so you guys were
if
already dating.
If we're 8 months in, I feel like
y'all
if we're 8 months in,
let's say you had
I have something to fall back on. I'm not asking him for nothing.
And I also feel like when you're dating, you shouldn't even really be paying bills together like that. That's just my personal opinion. Like if you're dating, my financial responsibilities are my responsibilities. Yours are yours. You know what I mean? So if we were married, it would be different. But during the dating years, I mean, I don't want you paying my bills and I'm not paying none of yours.
Okay, so
I agree with Brittany.
so the question I have then, if that's the case, and if he phony kick it, because you said that your bills are your bills, his bills is his bills, he phony kick it to let you to believe he's financially, because you said that you wasn't gonna ask him for anything, right? So if you don't ask him for anything, you never know where his pocket is at. And then you find out, like she says, 6 months in, that his pocket is that way. Now you in love. Now he met your mama. You know, what do you do now? You just, what? You mad?
I mean,
at
I
him?
feel like that's discernment. You got to be able to discern situations and kind of use like common sense. You can tell how, not all the time, I get where you're going, but you can really tell how a person is living based on the fruit of their life, their connections, their circles, their, you know, it's not just about, you know, because they could be scammers. I don't know nothing about it, but I understand, you know, people be out here scamming and whatnot. So I think that it's their character. Like you can definitely tell by their track record, you know, what do people say about them? Like how, like what type of reputation do they have? Like it's not just about, oh, he just bought me this bag or whatever the case may be. You got to kind of discern things out and just observe, you know, during those dating years or months. Look at me talking about years. During the dating months.
Let me get this super chat before I play this clip.
Yeah.
Rex $10 says, what women say and what they do is two different things. Say all you want, you're still going to be with that broke guy. If you guys don't date broke, then you wouldn't have broke experiences.
That's why they over it, because they dated broke.
Well, you know, to find men that they can date.
There's wanksters out there. There's all kind of them out there. They're frauds, okay? They're going to do what they can to get your attention, but there's only so long they're going to hold it, okay? So, yeah, people do slide and end up accidentally meeting a broke person, but that's why they exit left. The cutoff game is definitely strong when you know what the hell you want as a woman and as a man. So
now, if you met someone who was a good experience, bro, because that is possible, you would give a person not
we just heard that.
Say it again.
Now we just heard to listen to y'all guys. Y'all go ahead. Y'all go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. You know, I understand what you're saying.
Did you say if the D was good, would we?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, I thought that was the question.
After he play his clip, I talk about it, but I dated broke.
No, I didn't say that.
What you say? I don't know if it's my internet or somebody else's, but I couldn't hear you. It was freezing.
No,
up for
I
me.
was.
What
I was piggybacking off of what Coco said. That it's because you experience a broke person. But I'm saying if you experience it with a good broke person, there is a chance that you can jog back around. I mean, it's a difference. I feel it's a difference. My first wife, who was a bad broke, but my second one was a good broke. She's somebody I go back to, because although she was broke, she was pushing. She just could never. And then after we divorced, it took off for her. Although we're not together now, but that's a broke person I go back around the corner on. So you can meet a bad broke that just fuck you up, and like I'm not dealing with nobody, or you can meet somebody who had that desire. You know, guys, they push, and sometimes it just don't happen for people.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what a hustle come in yet. Because when I was in college, I dated broke guys, but they were good broke guys. Like every time I looked up, they was coming to my crib with dishwashing detergent, you know, stuff that I ain't have to buy. So it was like, oh shoot, he come up in this mug. I got, you know, he came in with some sheets, you know, 800 thread count sheets. I don't know where he getting it from, but hey, he bringing something that I don't got to spend my money on, you know. Bring in some Cheerios. I don't care where he got it from. So that's what I'm saying. When you got a hustle in you, I'm gonna sit back and watch for a second and see if I can get into the jumping rope. But if you sitting there talking about some man, I mean, it is what it is. I'm gonna see what's up with this temp service in a couple. Bye. So yeah, it is some good ones and some bad ones.
What's a good broke?
The good broke to me is a guy who isn't entitled, who's aware of his position, and who tries to take the load off your back. Like my child's father, he was a good broke. When he got out, first off, he had nothing. When he in his situation, he ended up getting his GED. He was taking himself to levels, and I didn't even have to help him. When he knew he wanted to do music, my social media was pretty big. He had got his, so my 3-year social media, he got his there within 3 or 4 months. He was putting himself in rooms with people who were doing better than him. He was giving me my respect. He was, I don't feel like he had low confidence because I was the breadwinner. I feel like I had to watch how I feel like his confidence came from sometimes how I might address him, because as being the breadwinner, he had to check me on stuff. So when I saw I could do that with him, I thought like I could do that with a lot of guys. And when I kept trying to do that, I'm like, dang, like they don't have the same, respect for me in this position. They're entitled to certain things. They didn't want to do certain work because they felt like it was a woman's job. Whereas him, even though he was hustling on the side and getting himself together, when I came home, the food will already be cooked. The baby will be good. I don't have to wake up in the middle of the night to feed her. The house was clean. Those were things I genuinely appreciated. And then since that's done, hey, I could rub his back when I come home because I don't have to worry about the mental stress of this. I feel like some bro guys be entitled and entitled to certain treatment that masculinity gets, that they forget that because you lack that, you have to pick up in other areas. And some guys are really, if they're not confident, they're not going to pick up in those other areas very well. I feel like my guy was very confident, so it was easy for him to pick up in areas that men usually lack in.
So Ty, would you date a good broke?
Like I said, I think my opinion is quite different maybe than most ladies on here. Yes, I would, because to me, like I stated, broke in my mind is you don't have a job at all. You're not trying to build anything at all. As long as I see that he's trying to build, even if he has to start small, as long as you have that ambition to keep going, then we can make something happen. You can run into an entrepreneur who doesn't have anything, right? But he has a dream, he has a plan, he has a vision, and he's acting towards trying to make that vision happen. You can, from overnight, he can go from making $25,000 to making $250,000. It's about sticking through. And then I also feel like it's important to not just look at men for their money. That's never been my thing. But I'm also not a money motivated person. I've always worked hard myself. So I depend on my income. And if you have something to add to it, we're always going to do better. Two people are always better than one. So like Di was stating, if he's also adding a mental calmness, right? I can depend on you in communication. I can depend on you when I'm going through emotional things. I can depend on you just on every other aspect of that relationship. If you're not making as much as me, that's not going to keep me from talking to you, especially if I see the potential in you.
Okay, we're going to play this clip, y'all.
To find men that they can date.
If you are a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, as an African woman in Australia or America or the UK or Toronto or Johannesburg, looking for a black man who has financial equity with your type of career success, that's going to be difficult. You might got to tone it down a little bit. What I find as a therapist who works with couples, too often black women prioritize a man's income over his masculinity. He's willing to help with those children. He will nurture you, look out for you, but he might not be able to put you in a Mercedes. And I've seen black women turn down good men because he didn't have the economics, but he had everything else. Sisters need to be careful not to fall into this European narrative of judging men primarily by how much they make.
Let the church say amen.
And that goes back to what I said.
Amen.
Like, it's good broken, but unfortunately, just like y'all say, when girls dress a certain way, most of them comes with most broke guys don't have that confidence. Most of them don't have that. So I understand when people say they're not going to initially date that way. But if you have those qualities and you've shown those qualities, I doubt you're just a brokey. You're going to have something, like Ty said, going for yourself, a plan, some type of vision. You're not just going to be like, oh, I'm just figuring it out and I'm broke and I need you to help me out too while I'm just trying to figure, like, nah.
I think plan, vision, potential are all good, but the main thing is execution.
Yes.
I think a lot of times as women, where we get caught up is we see those things, those things that are abstract, so to speak, and we stay in that zone because we really care about the guy. Love, once the emotions are involved, and is a new relationship, we're seeing the best in everything. And sometimes people, just in general, never reach their full potential. They don't. It's a possibility that they won't reach their full potential. So I do think while that can be a stepping stone towards a relationship, because you're watching these, attributes. Oh, he has a plan. He has a vision. I
Yeah.
see the potential. But you have to look for the concrete things in regards to execution of the plan and the vision. I think that's very important. I just wanted to throw that part out there.
I agree, Ms.
Yeah, I agree. He can't say he wants to be he want to build houses and he won't go and get a construction license. But yet during pillow talk, he's like, these are my dreams. But it's like, okay, you have these dreams, but you have to move forward. That was the comment I made earlier, that you can stick around to see if that person is moving. Just like I stated, my first wife, I was with her for 15 years and I had a dream to work in film and TV. And she stayed with me because I went to school. I worked at Caterpillar. I went to school for film and TV. But just when I graduated, I didn't get a job for 6 months. She waited 15 years and couldn't wait. 6 months. 6 months, I got the job. Like, just like that. It was like she was at the door, but because this was 15 years, I can't go in. You can't give up on the guys just at the door.
It's acrimony, Billy.
It's just at the door. Now, to this day, she don't fuck with me. But she felt like another woman benefited, like the movie. But you left as soon as. So if you gonna give them a chance, go over to the finish line. Don't.
I feel like if I was on acrimony, I wouldn't have divorced him because he was constantly putting work into his craft for years.
You gotta know.
Constantly keeping his hands going. That's why I say, as far as that movie, I feel like the sisters played a huge part. She was too busy looking at her sister's life and what their husband was doing. And to me, the whole movie, I honestly didn't see. I understand he made that first mistake, but then he went all those years without making that type of mistake again. And he went all those years. I personally would have stayed with him. I wouldn't have worried about what my sisters have had. And then two, that was her husband. That wasn't somebody that she was just dating. This is her husband. And although, like, I feel like I would have thought it was a scam if he would have, in the beginning, remember when he kept taking her money and then nothing was happening. But now I'm sitting here and I'm coming home to this man working on his craft every day. That's different. That's somebody who's trying, but they're just failing. You know what I'm saying? And he still had a regular back-end job. He just wasn't making as much as her. I don't care about you making as much as me, but I feel like sometimes broke, stagnant people, they come with way more problems mentally and spiritually other than financial problems. When I say I don't want to date a brokey, to me, it's not for their finances. A lot of broke men come with mental, spiritual, communication, have to do with confidence. Like the broke man that we all said was a brokey, not really doing. They come with more issues that I care about. Those are the issues that I can't overlook. But if you could come with those issues, I wouldn't mind you being like I told my friend, I was like, I'm probably gonna sound stupid for saying this, but if I made so much money, I wouldn't mind having a house husband. Like a guy who stayed at the house and I go to work. I would not mind that because I'm what I wouldn't, because I feel like I would rather go to work. That's a lot of work. It's just a lot of housework. It's a lot of work. And I've done it with my child's father, and I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it. I loved it. And when I try to do that with other men, they're not confident staying at home doing that type of work. They don't feel like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you why they don't do what.
And you
I
kind
think. Oh,
of
go ahead.
you kind of contradicted yourself. I understand what you're trying to say. At one point, you said that you would be with a broke guy, essentially in acrimony. He was a brokey, be it a good or a bad brokey. And then you said that you wouldn't date one because they come with all of these issues, and then said that you would date one again, essentially. So it's kind of all over the place.
She
No, I'm saying if I
differentiated
was rich and
between
he
a good
showed those
broke guy
qualities
and a
in
bad
my
broke guy. So I think in that
yes,
instance, she was talking about the good broke guy.
but because of
No,
where
don't try
I'm
to
at
don't
right
try to
now,
clean
I
it up
can't
for
get
me.
a
I'm
good
not.
broke guy.
She did. No, I'm
He
not.
did.
That's what I said.
She
That's
did. She did.
Exactly.
Describe the
and
difference
mind you, I
between a
said
good
they were
broke guy
already
and a bad
married,
broke guy.
so I'm not leaving my
Ladies,
husband
can
because
a man talk? Can we hear a masculine voice? Because we've been hearing y'all the first hour of this whole conversation, of the whole
Damn, we've
show.
been on here
Y'all
for
been
an hour.
you know, the double standards is kicked in big time today. We have not said nothing. We allow y'all to speak, get all y'all shit out, and y'all been doing up but talking. But ladies, let's be honest. Di, you was double talking. You sit there and said, I don't want no brokey, but now you'll take a house husband. What do you think a house husband is? He broke. He ain't got no goddamn money. You ain't paying him, are you? Are you paying him to keep your home clean and food on the table and take care of the kid? No, you're not. So he's a broke brother too. He just got a different identity. That's all. You instead of calling him brokey, you call him a house husband. He broke. He broke it than a motherfucker. And that's okay. If that's what you're okay, that's what you're okay with. So I think somebody in the chat said they say one thing and they do the opposite. Oh yeah, ladies, that's exactly what you do. So I said before, y'all look at us as provision and as a wallet only. And when y'all ladies say, I won't take a broke man, I won't struggle with that. Let me tell you who will.
No.
These brothers going out here and get them goddamn snow bunnies. Because they gonna build with that old that brother. They'll take a broke man and watch him come up. And then on the outside looking at y'all be mad and feeling some type of way. Look at him. He done sold us out. He done got a white girl. God, please let me finish. Come on, Kobe. Come on, Kobe, please. Y'all will sit there and say, oh, look at him, get that white girl. Y'all feeling some type of way. Every brother gets some money, he get a white girl. Well, man,
he couldn't handle a sister.
He was building with him. She was building with him. She watched him come up. She might even help pay for his tuition, pay for his books. You know what I'm saying? Let her borrow the car every other weekend so he can get that extra job while he's sitting there struggling, coming on and building himself. Ladies, even my lesbian sister said, y'all sisters are crazy.
I didn't say crazy.
No, you feel our pain.
No, I didn't.
I'm saying it. Okay, well, I'll tell you. I think they're crazy for having this mindset. You're right. I think they are crazy though for that mindset, and you kind of feel it. You just ain't said the words. I'll say it for you, Billy.
No. I didn't say crazy. I said because of how they was raised.
I know, Billy. I'm saying it. Listen to the words. I'm saying it for you. I know what you're thinking, but I'm saying it for you. You ain't gonna Billy. Just be honest.
I ain't gonna let
Come
you
on, Billy.
But go ahead. No, I don't think they're crazy. I just think that it's the way they're raised. I don't know if any of you gentlemen have daughters.
See, that's the problem. Let me tell you, Billy, let me tell you this.
That's the truth.
Most of these women ain't come from a silver spoon.
You didn't even let
They're
me
not coming
finish.
from a silver spoon. So what are they raised? I mean, okay, well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me finish. I was saying, I don't know if you gentlemen have daughters, but if your daughter fall, you're going to react a different way than your son fall. So when your daughter get big, it's like when she falls, she's going to react because she's used to her father. So you can't say, I don't understand women. You do, because you got a daughter. So the things you do with your daughter, that is what has been done to them. Now, I'm not saying that they perfect and their asses ain't, okay? I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying it's how we raise our girls. So when they get grown, we like, oh, they want this, they want that.
Right. So you're saying that you're saying that you're acknowledging the fact that everything that we're saying is true. You're just not saying that it's not necessarily right.
I'm saying everything that you're saying is true. But if you are a man and you are raising daughters, all you're doing is raising what you're complaining about.
That's fair. That's
A
fair.
woman was
I,
saying,
I, I don't. I personally don't. I agree that men, if they're not in a position to date, they shouldn't be dating.
Right.
But many of the things that you guys are naming off, especially the complications that come with dating a broke guy, that comes with dating men with money. So it don't matter if you got money or if you broke. So I don't think that you could be a bad Richie, if that's a term that y'all want to use. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that the money part should play that big of a role, just as Dr. Umar spoke on, because y'all potentially passing up the very man that you want. And just how Billy said her first wife or whoever say once they left, she took off.
Yeah.
So you just might be blocking your whole blessing, you know what I'm saying, because you don't want to give this man a chance. So Brittany, go ahead and give that man a chance, man. Quit humbugging.
And so, yeah, and another thing, I don't see what is the problem with building a man, even if he's struggling. Like I said, he's working. Say, he's not even working 4 hours. He's working a part-time job, but you see, he's going back to school or get some type of certification or vocational. Some of y'all ladies don't even want to work with a man to doing that because, like you said, he's only making 25. Okay, maybe his part-time job's only paying him 25. But you see the potential, but you like, I ain't got time to wait for all that. In my big age of whatever that is, I don't have time to do that. Well, ladies, you missed out
because
on
I feel like what Miss Taken said. Like Miss Taken said earlier, that's okay in your 20s, right? But like, what have you been doing all these years? I guess that's the big question. Like, if you 40 and you still trying to like figure it out, I'm not talking about rebuilding. I'm not talking about someone who's been on and they hit hard times, but they are like, they don't have a consistent career path, or they're just kind of still working these odd and end jobs and they're chasing dreams and nothing is concrete. What have you really been doing all these years? And why do you think that I'm about to come in the picture now and like be your backbone when you still haven't figured it out at age 40?
They've been building experience.
Like Billy said, if the shoe was on the other foot, what if y'all was doing that same thing? You would want a man to be patient with you, to be understanding. You go into a career change. You like, yeah, I've been teaching for 15 years.
That's different. That's different. They had a career. They had a career.
Okay,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You're a bully. I know you're a bully, and that's okay.
No, that's different. A career change is different. They had a career. Maybe they've been in a class, or maybe they were a teacher and they want to, do something different now. They did that for 15 years or whatever the case may be. That's different. I'm talking about someone who, I think even Ty brought it up earlier, like their track record is just like shot as like, they're working all these different odd-end jobs. They're always underemployed. They're doing just enough to get by. There's no consistency. I would not date somebody like that. And I think that's what we were saying. If it's somebody who has the potential and everything else, we'll cheer them on. Well, I know Miss Taken said it. I said it, some other people. But we're not like about to make a commitment to that person, because at the end of the day, it's about execution. It's about results. And when you're of a certain age, they're just different expectations, because not because we feel like we're running out of time or anything like that. But for me, it's like, what have you really been doing? Like you're fluffing, like something ain't right because nothing is sticking.
But that goes back to them building experience in that time. If we're using the movie as an example, it took him 20 years in order to get this device correct. So her sisters, oh man, what is he doing? He's fluffing, right? The whole time he's sitting on a $5 billion project. that sold and it worked. So I understand. I 100% understand what you're saying. However, I think that often this narrative, it takes away the genuineness of building a relationship with a person, especially if they're an entrepreneur or they're finding their way or whatever the case may be. I'm pretty sure all of us, we're all over 30. We didn't figure it out within the first 10 years of life or work or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years, and I probably spent 10 of them motherfuckers broke.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a part of building that experience of where, okay, I understand that this is how life works, this is how business works. And now when I walk into rooms, it ain't shit because I have the experience to be able to handle all of these situations with my chest up.
Hold on, y'all.
Were you during that time period, were you operating in the same field or same line of work, or were you like bouncing around to different skills and
So
opportunities?
it was essentially in the same field. I went from art to from music to painting to art and now to film. But that goes back to the conversation again that we had a couple weeks ago, where I was saying that any person jumping from job to job, that's not a good look. That's dangerous. That's taking away everything that y'all are literally talking about now. But y'all were the ones saying that people should do it. So it's
I
contradictory.
never said that. I don't remember that conversation.
17 to
When
21.
we were talking, we were
Experience
talking about the young lady, the woman that was found unalived in the building for like 4 days or something like that. And every woman on the panel literally said that, oh well, that's why you shouldn't stay at a job if woo woo and woo woo, and it's okay to bounce around. And y'all literally all said that, but now you're saying that that's not a good track record for someone to observe. So y'all are picking and choosing when to stand by something and when it's good and when it's not.
Hold on,
Are
y'all.
you
Let me
talking
play.
about women that's not on this panel that said something weeks ago?
Yeah,
Because I don't think any of
No,
the panel said that.
it's the very women that's on this panel right now
So you're
saying
not talking
that.
about me because I never said it's okay for a guy to bounce around jobs and all that. I've never said that.
me either.
Never.
Y'all said people.
I said
It
that.
wasn't
I
guys.
said that between when they first go into college, that it's
I
okay for
think
them
Jay, I was
to
trying to play a
move
video.
jobs and figure out what career they like. I said we gave age ranges when and then we also gave age ranges to where it's now at a toxic point.
That's
Or at least
not.
I gave age
All
ranges.
right, I'm gonna play this clip, y'all.
Tenure that we were talking about. And that became a pool and case study of couples over the years.
So we talked about when we were there that people who start businesses together statistically stay together longer. And you said statistically that's true.
Yeah.
So through your case studies, walk us down why you think that is true, that couples who build businesses and wealth together last longer.
Yeah, there was actually a case study. It was a study done and it was posted on the Journal of Psychology. And they had a pool of couples. And what they realized with the pool of couples that your net worth will increase by 77% simply by learning and investing in the process of supporting each other. So what did that look like? So the couples that decided to support each other, the couples that said, you know what is it that you need from me? I got your back. And I supply that for you, and vice versa. That couple, their personal net worth increased by 77% simply by making a decision of supporting one another. And that's an individual net worth, right? So imagine together, right? So that's something that was, and then there's numerous studies after that claim the same thing, that because if you support each other, your net worth increases. And I mean, you guys are a perfect example of that, right? So what year did you actually became not at this level, but started growing and started becoming. When did that happen, and how close was that from knowing Asia, or Asia being involved and supporting your vision?
That was what year that was?
If you can
Technically,
pinpoint.
yeah, I can. I started my business September of 2018. We got married June 2018. So June is the 6 months. So 3 months into marriage. As soon as we got married, we bought an apartment together. I was, of course, I was in the military, and she was a full-time college student. So she had a part-time job. I had a full-time job and a side hustle. So, you know, as soon as we got married, our net worth literally increased because the military, like, I was making $2,000 a month, and it went to $4,000 a month. Plus, I was making another $3,000 barbering. So instantly, as soon as we got married, I'm making $7K a month right out the bat. And she was bringing in about 1.5. So we had a 6-figure, like at 22 years old, we already got a 6-figure household. So I told her all money in, so your money can go to paying the bills, and this other money that I use is going to be all investments. So I'm throwing in about 4 to 6K a month. We would still take a trip every once in a while. We were newly married, and we couldn't really go nowhere because I was in the military, like a honeymoon, you know. And we didn't have the money until we got married. You get what I'm saying? Like literally a month into marriage. So that was 2018. Like this stuff happened this fast. Like if I tell you the timeline, you're gonna be like, wow. So we got married in June. By August, you know, it's a steady 8K a month. By December, I got like 20K saved up, something like that. And she ends up being pregnant in December.
Was that planned?
Yes.
Might as well say yes.
It was. Be honest? Should I be honest? I was say that when I found out she was pregnant. And once my business grew to 30K a month, I told her this is too much. Like you only make 1.5K a month. Like you have to quit that job. Help me out. Like don't. And of course she was like, look, you know, my parents told me never depend on a man no matter what. And I'm like, look, we're married. You pregnant with my child. I can't have you working. You get what I'm saying? Plus you work outside.
I never said that now. Hold on.
She said, you lying now.
I feel like that just goes back to that saying where you'll hear men usually say this, like she wasn't with me shooting in the gym, right? I've always believed that you'll have a better relationship if you meet a man when he's still building rather than when he's already built. Because there's more potential for you to add to the table. You know, nowadays they always say, what do you bring to the table? But if I literally helped you build that table, you could never question it, which is why I don't have an issue with dating someone who is in a struggling phase, but like you guys said, has that ambition, is executing, and I know that he's working towards something bigger because I can always add to that and make you greater, right?
And that goes back to what I think what men consider broke is different than what women consider brokey. He was hustling. He was getting another job. He had a plan. He was making progress towards that plan. He was including the wife in on the plan. And even like he said, to make certain investments, he went to get a second job. That's okay. He's showing initiative and back to what Ms. Taken was saying, he was executing, you know. Sometimes people execute and they fail, like acrimony. That's cool. Sometimes people make execution and they succeed, but I had to notice that part, taking initiative and executing, is a very big. If you're going to date someone that's in a financially not ideal place for you, you have to look at that, like what he's doing with his time and his background and how he's like coming out. You can't just be like, oh, I'll love. I'm gonna just because I feel like that's unrealistic and you can end up enabling somebody.
So did y'all? I don't think y'all must didn't hear what he also said. Is that he used her money to pay the bills? Did you hear that? Of course y'all didn't hear that. Most of y'all probably hear it. You won't hear it because you say, I'm not paying no goddamn bills. Well, that's your husband, first of all. It shouldn't matter. I know my buddy Aisha will say how long I got to pay the bills, but it is what it is. She was he was using her money to pay the bills. He was using his money to invest. That's working as a team. That's what a marriage should be. Look, I believe in the motto of one pot. That's how I roll, and that's how I've been pushing that statement for the longest. One pot. Me and my wife put our money together. There's no her pot, her money, my money, rainy day, get out of jail free, card money. We in this all together, everything financially together. And so we're gonna have more because we're gonna invest more. We're not gonna be separated when you do
Keyword marriage.
Notice she didn't do that during the dating stage. She also made
ladies, please. I don't cut y'all ladies off, man. Come on, ma'am. I appreciate you if you let me finish. I don't talk that much. I don't talk long. I promise you I don't. I'm gonna land here soon because I see how bad you want that mic. But again, you're right, Brittany. Marriage. That's when you should. Look, when me and my wife were dating, I didn't pay her bills. She didn't pay my bills. I don't believe in that shit. No, don't come ask me money for what now. You need to show me and prove to me that you can take care of yourself. And when I see you can do that on a consistent basis, then we can move forward. But once we got married, that wasn't a problem. Matter of fact, when we got engaged, we started migrating our money because we already knew we was months away from the finish line. And we started migrating our money together. We started making certain investments and certain business plans. She knew all that, laid it out on the table. Every debt she has, I knew. It wasn't no, I had to wait till I got married and then found out. No bullshit. I need to know before I go into this thing, what's your debt? How much you owe? Your credit score? All of that needs to be important. A lot of us don't talk about money. We wait till we actually get married before we talk about money. No, that should be one of the conversations you have. Because when you go into a marriage, it could be a damn culture shock knowing that your fiance has a $130,000 bill overhead that you didn't know nothing about, that you didn't plan on. Why? Because she's living a life that she really can't afford. Mm-hmm. But now all of a sudden you come to the marriage, you come to the table. When she say I do, all of a sudden she throw a bill on the table. Where the hell did this come from? I didn't know nothing about this. Well, dog, you should have asked her about it. As a man, that's your problem. You should have asked. You should inquire. And if she wasn't going to be honest, then you need to get away from her. Because if she's going to be lying about this money, what else would she be lying about? I'll leave it there.
I got a question for the ladies.
I actually agree.
I got a question for the ladies.
Welcome to the dark side, Brittany.
How do the ladies feel about men that pay bills in the dating stages? Like, how do you view those men?
I haven't dated one like that, so I can't say.
I think it depends. Me personally, I'm of the mindset, and I've said this before, I don't believe that in the dating stage, men nor women should be playing the husband or wife stage. You know, you got to know your role. You got to know your title. And I think a lot of times what happened is men and women in that dating phase are expecting the other to show up as a wife or as a husband, doing things that those are privileges or are actions that are supposed to occur in a marriage. And they're looking for those things as a girlfriend and boyfriend. And I think that you're totally off the mark with doing that. I think I had shared, I remember when my husband and I were dating, like I literally saw the difference in treatment from him based on the level of relationship we were at. When we was just kicking it, there was no money spent, nothing, you know, or whatever. Then when we were at the dating phase, it was like looking out for me, getting certain things. Cause, you know, I was still in college and he had already graduated. You know, I was in Buffalo, so it was cold. So he was like, yo, you need some boots. You need this sweater. So he would purchase certain things and give me those little things off and on, but it still wasn't at the level of taking care of me versus the way that it was once we got married. There was a deeper level of, you know, I would say a sense of responsibility that he felt for me once we moved to the stage of marriage. So definitely, you got to save actions for the right title.
Okay, so then what's the difference between, as some men say women, she need to show that she's a wife before they get married? Like, how do you determine like what's considered marriageable things versus dating things? Because like regardless, I think people pick and choose what they consider to be marriageable or not. I think they still act as though they're married when it comes to certain things.
You look at how a person moves, like in general, for again, just using my life as my example. When we were dating, I didn't take responsibility for his stuff, but I did assist him in certain things. So if he had a paper due, I wasn't going to do that paper for him, but my skill set was my mom was an executive secretary. She taught all of us to type. She came from the generation that's mostly what all women did. She went to school, she learned that. So she taught us. So my thing is, can I have help? So I was up in the computer lab helping him type paper. Like he would write it. I was good with English. So I was able to, make some corrections and stuff like that and support him in that way. But I wasn't going to do the footwork. No, boo, you write your own paper. You know what I'm saying? Or I had a lunch card. He lived off campus. I didn't eat as much as, most dudes do or whatever. So if he swung through, he was hungry. I knew I wasn't going to eat it. Hey, you want a sandwich? So it's little things like that. I wasn't supporting him, that's what I would do as a wife. It would be a different level of support. But little things like that can show your partner that you are marriage material, that you're not selfish. Like those are characteristic things. So those are the things that you're looking for at that stage.
That's the key
I
word.
agree. Go ahead, Billy.
No, I was just repeating what she said. That is it's the character, that you're just looking to see if they can do those things. If you're on the phone and you tell your girlfriend, I'm not feeling good, and she says, okay, you should get 2 aspirins, I'll talk to you later. She's not wife material. Because wife material is gonna ring the doorbell and have juice and ginger ale and all these things. So I do agree that it's you have to pay attention to what people do and not say. I think guys in general they're easy breezy, and guys are easy. Women are a little more complicated. So I think when you're easy with it and you just do what is natural to you, then you'll know who's a wife material. It's the same way, and who's a husband. Because, if I'm telling you that something is wrong with my car and you like, okay, did you call your daddy? Then you're not husband material, because a husband is going to come and do whatever he needs to do for the car. So I was just agreeing with her.
In those timelines, from a lovepreneur perspective, right?
What's
From
up?
the 77% perspective, she multiplied you 3 times.
Yeah.
So she multiplied you the minute she had your seed, right? She multiplied you when you said, I need you to quit your job. I need you to come over and help me manage this, right? And then after that, you grew. So she also multiplied your business. That is insane, right? Which is what a woman's role should be, to help you multiply. But so many successful men, or so many men that have vision, they miss that part. They miss including their partner into helping manage and multiply. And that's exactly her role, and you let her do that. So
Was that
congrats
scary?
to you.
Was that scary for you, like at that moment? Like now you know what you're doing, you got it all down pat, but was that scary in the moment, in that
In
moment?
the moment, absolutely not. I don't know. I was in a zone to where it was just, okay, whatever it is, I'm doing it. Like when I wanted a child, it was like I was in the bathroom one day and I had the thought I want a kid. So I was like, hey, I want a baby. It was just simple.
I was
And then
confused. She was only 20.
I kind of want to stop it there because I know that there's a lot of conversation around a woman's purpose, her career. So what it sound like, and I did listen to a little bit in the interview, once they got married, it was more beneficial for her to add value to what he already had going on, his business. and that's when they seen it thrive. But what I've noticed is that some women may not want to join their husband or someone that's leading to marriage. They still have their goals and the things that they want to accomplish in life. So how do you guys feel about that? Do you think a wife's purpose in the role is supposed to serve her husband? Should you go the more logical route, or should the husband be considerate as far as what it is that she wants out of life, because it's her life, even though she got married?
I would say if we're really thinking about what we would consider the traditional roles and you want a man that's going to be a provider and protector of his household, then if you're going to marry him, you would and should want to feed into his dreams and goals, right? Especially if he's already on that path of achieving them. Now, of course, you could have had your own path, and just because you're feeding into his doesn't mean that you can't also make time for yours as well. But if I really want you to be the leader of the home, I'm going to feed more into yours. I'm going to help yours more. I want you to be successful and make it as far as you possibly can so that our entire household is taken care of. And then once that happens, I can also, use that as a way to feed into my goals, into the things that I also want to do. I think that's what a lot of women get confused and where we end up on this, trail where we are 40, 50, 60, 70, and we don't have that counterpart because we spent so much time focusing on our own career that you never even opened up your life for the possibility of having a man come in and helping him with his as well, or even just having a partner, right? Because you're so career focused. But of course, every woman doesn't want that. So it also depends on what you want out of life. But if you are looking to be a wife, then I do believe that it is one of our goals to feed and to our husband and his dreams and the things that he wants to accomplish.
Can I just speak from a place of seeing two sides of a different coin? Growing up in a generation where that was the mindset versus growing up in a generation now like me, being married after 21 years and having an example of growing up with that specific thing, is that I think back then there was an environment that was created where that was the expectation. When we're talking about traditional, that was the expectation, and for so many reasons. But the best marriages, like if you read like any studies and stuff, a lot of them talk about more so feeding into each other. If both people come fulfilled, like they're speaking to what she was saying, that they were pouring into each other, which made their marriage grow, right? Exponentially. If you're one person coming in with just pouring into somebody else and you do have dreams and aspirations, but they never get fulfilled, you still feel a lack of fulfillment within your marriage, right? So it's the idea of saying, okay, even if I have to make a decision to say, okay, right now you're making the most money, it would make more sense for us to spend this amount of time, as you're building your career, but I'm still doing stuff on the back end that's propping me up for the things that I want to do in life too. I just might not be able to go full throttle. Like when I was working towards my doctorate, before I got to my doctorate, him and I both met in college. So we both had our bachelors. Right after that, I got my master's. And then I took a break and he was like, you know what? I'm going back to school. I want to get my master's. So at that point, I couldn't get my doctorate, even though in my mind I had a goal like by the time I'm 30, 3, I want to have my doctorate. That was my mindset. But that wasn't life. He was like, I'm going back to school. And I knew it would be too much with me trying to work on a doctorate with the level that takes, and him being in school and us having 2 kids. Wasn't going to happen. So I had to put mine on the back burner while he worked towards that. And I supported and helped him in that. Once he was finished, then I was able to get back on track. So it was a matter of giving and taking and pouring into each other's hopes and dreams so everybody can be fulfilled.
There was something that she had said, and I don't know if I heard it incorrectly, but she said something along the lines of rich and successful men, they don't appreciate their woman or something like that. What
He
is she?
said they forget to add their woman into their plan and
So
actually allow their woman to help them grow more and get to that level.
well, I don't. I think that that's false because most rich and successful men understand the importance and value of a good woman that can do that. So I don't think that I don't agree with that part. I just wanted to point that out because I felt like she was um, taking away the dynamics that I would say the majority of men, be it if they're brokey, right? They still understand the value and importance of a good and solid woman because that in most cases that's when they're not going to try to let her away if she's trying to get away from her. So I think that those little things I think add to the separation again of each person understanding the value of each other. I mean, men, God created woman to be a man's helpmeet. So that's in men innately to want and desire that with a woman, and especially to build, to your point, Ty, earlier, to be able to build with that woman because now I know that you got my back. You know what I'm saying? Through thick and thin, through highs and the lows. And I know that you're not just here for the bag.
Hey, Fizz, I agree that there are some men out there that do understand it, but then there are some men that don't understand it. Just like how some women have been broken and scorned, you have men that's been done the same way, that have been taken advantage of. And so for their future relationship, it's going to be difficult for them to be able to be vulnerable enough. Just like you have some women that's been in control that hold like them leadership jobs. It's kind of hard for them to relax and allow a man to be able to lead because they so used to leading. And men are the same way too. Men lead to the point, not all, but some men lead to the point where it's going to take a lot of work to be able to like delegate. So they rather just hold the burden themselves. I've been guilty of that. You know, I have to go and have to explain and teach somebody how to think like me. And if they can't think like me, then I don't want to waste no time doing it because I'm already busy. So it's kind of difficult for me to delegate. And they ask and they ask and they ask, but they got to be the right person. I can't just give anybody this level of control without them being a certain place in my life. So
Well, no, I agree with that. I agree with everything that you said. And of course, over time, especially in our adult years, after we done went through that puppy love and we had our heart broken and this bitch cheated on me and all, you know what I'm saying? You go through all of these emotions and then you build up this wall and then this person comes along. It's like, damn, this feels good. This feels like home. I feel safe here. I think that's when that person is going to open up and allow for that to happen. But of course, they got to be willing to do it.
Brittany, what you got to say? Why you look like you frowning? She been frowning.
I'm sorry. I got that resting bee face. I'm really happy. I just when I'm sitting still.
Ty, you know what it is, Ty? She's mad at herself because she agreed with me, and now she's mad because she said it. That's what it really is, Ty. She mad because she agreed with me and she don't like it. Now she's feeling some type of way.
Oh my gosh. No, I think I echo what Miss Taken said, that I think it's about, if we're going back to the original question, pouring into each other, giving each other the space and time. Even in my own personal situation in the past, in my early 20s, I worked, but I also was an entrepreneur. And at one point I was a full-time entrepreneur, and my ex-husband at the time worked and held it down for the most part during that time. And then I got pregnant. Our responsibilities increased. It was like, okay, I need to like put my entrepreneurial dreams on hold for a minute until that revenue starts coming in the way I needed to. I went ahead and went to work as well. And then fast forward, it was a time when he was tired of his situation where he was working and he had aspirations to go into the real estate side of things full time. And it's like, you know what? I'm gonna hold us down. Like, you do that. So I agree. Like, it's really about pouring into each other and finding that work-life harmony in order to make it work.
And sometimes it doesn't have to be at the same time. Like when I was working and my child's father wasn't, I supported his dreams just by studio money. You know what I'm saying? Money that contributed to something he was doing. And in my head, I was prepared to, whenever he needed me, hey, I need you for this music video. Okay, I need you to watch the baby. I need you to be here to support me mentally. Da, 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 da. Then I already knew that when that time come, I would be ready to do that for him. Supporting each other and pouring into each other doesn't always have to be with money either. I was able to go to work and do all the things that I could do to support him because of how he was pouring into me. And that's why, like I said, it's not always about money. If you can pour into each other, then you both can get your dreams satisfied. It's just which one makes sense right now for our situation. Which one is going to put us both in a stable spot to make sure that, okay, we're getting things handled, but one of us is going somewhere. Because sometimes I think it is a lot for a woman to try to do her dreams and her dreams at the same time. Just like Miss Taken was saying, like with her degree, she was like, okay, I was going for that doctorals, but based on where they were in life, she's like, okay, I need to support him. You know what I'm saying? Versus taking too much load on yourself and now you blaming him because it's like, oh, I'm supporting you and what about my dreams? Sometimes you really have to just sit down and say, okay, which one is going to help us meet our family needs right now, especially if those needs aren't all the way met.
All right, let me play this a little bit more.
That's the whole, my fault.
And no behind kissing. Tap in. Link in the and no behind.
Money portion wasn't the issue for trusting, but we all know sometimes that's the biggest issue for most men today.
Yep.
So how would you, I guess, give insight on how a man could trust a woman with his finances?
Definitely. So it comes down to the patterns. That's something that you got to study in your woman or in your partner. It's not just for women, men and women. You have to study your partner to see how they handle and manage money. Even before you get serious with somebody, that's something that you should identify. So for me, like, it came down to even when we started getting serious, like when I realized like this really may go somewhere, I had my wife go and open up a bank account at a bank that somebody I know was manager of and pull her credit to see what the credit looked like. Like,
let's tell the full story. We got some heat last time we talked about it on podcast. we got some heat. We got some heat on it. So yeah, just get more specific.
I needed to find out how she managed her credit, how she managed finances of her own. Before you handle mine, I want to see how you handle yours. So it's just following the patterns of people and studying them. If you follow and study the patterns of people, you'll find out a lot that you need to know without even asking them. And so that's what I did. And she was actually much more organized than me. I came from the streets. You know what I mean? Like, we was hustlers. We made it happen. We figured it out. In terms of organization, that wasn't really my strong point at that point. She came with that, coming from corporate America. Everything was organized with her. And we bumped heads about that. But it was something that I was able to see that she did well with her own. And that's what allowed me to give the trust that she could handle, finances on our end together.
So he had the same answer as most women on the podcast, and y'all was saying we date for money, but because it's when now that him as a man saying that's something he considers when dating a man, does that mean he only date women for money?
Wait, what? Say that again.
He said he considers a woman like where she's at financially and how she makes her financial decisions and her background and her portfolio before mating her, before dating her, like
Right.
before taking her seriously, which is what I feel most of the women on this podcast said. And at times when we said that, you was like, okay, that's what y'all putting money at the forefront. Y'all putting money at the forefront. But it seems like as a
Well, no,
man with some
it's
type of
paying
value,
attention.
that's something that
It-
or person in general is going to consider. So just because he said it, does that mean money is at the forefront of what he's looking for?
No,
No, I don't.
what he
I think he just heard what he said because said he's watching her how she handles the finance, and so he used that banking analogy or the banking story to find out what her credit score is. He's trying to get information. That's what I sit there and said when I shared. I didn't pay my wife's bills. I watch how she moves. If she was materialistic, that would have been a problem for me because I don't like a materialistic type woman because I'm not materialistic. Uh, how much she spends? Is she frugal with her money or she's frivolous with her money? Is she just out here just doing anything and knowing she can't pay it on a bunch of credit cards? Does she got a lot of plastic and this bond money here and there to pay off one card? Yeah, all of that should matter to her in a relationship, especially one that you're about to take serious. That's what I said there said. I knew her credit score. I knew her credit report prior to getting married. The reason why? Because I inquired about it. I wasn't afraid to ask the questions. And I say it all the time. Men need to interrogate women that you're finding to be someone that you're going to have a whole marriage with, a relationship with, that you take it serious. Not some booty call. You don't give a shit about her. You ask simple questions just to get some ass. But a woman who you respect and you love and you looking forward to blessing her with your last name, you need to interrogate her and get the answers. Regardless of the answers are, whether you accept them or not, get the answers. That's the most important thing. And find out what you need to find out so you can move accordingly. If she's not on the plan that you own, don't get with her. But if she is, continue to move forward. There should be certain things that you shouldn't move off on, certain standards, certain qualifications that you shouldn't move on. It's non-adjustable. But unfortunately, a lot of men don't do that. They don't operate that. Like I said, money should be some of the first conversations you have to have because you don't need to be going in debt prior to even getting married. Y'all haven't been together that long, and you already you gonna come in a $250,000 debt. Why? And what is this?
So if you see
I don't think that we.
credit and she's working on it and building, like she went from a 200 to a 400 while y'all was together, would you work with that?
Yeah, ain't no
$400,000 debt.
No, not 200,000. She's at a 200. Her credit score says 2 something, and she's with you. And she's like, I'm working on it. And as y'all continue dating, you see she's at a 400. She's working her way up. Would you work with a woman like that?
Well,
no.
there's no 200 credits. I think the lowest is 350. But
well, whatever is the lowest,
at that point,
you at 350, and now she's at a 500.
If you at 200, you just
you might as well. Hey, you might as well hit the reset button.
Really don't have nobody dating market.
When Brittany said she gonna work with a man that's building up, she was a gold digging hoe. So I just wanted to ask.
Right. I think
but the thing about you said a credit score that shows your bad credit score shows a lot more than just financial. It shows your lack of being responsible, your lack of awareness, not taking care of your business. That bad credit score says a lot more than just about money, Di.
Yeah, because again, at that point, then you should have been a responsible adult and just filed bankruptcy. Like at that point, if you holding on to it. No.
Just because you had a low credit score doesn't mean you have a lot of debt.
If you have the,
and I had $10,000 worth of debt from student loans, like
that's not going to get you a 350 credit score.
Yes, it will, and it did. It did.
You had some other shit going on that.
Show you it did because I wasn't making payments. I didn't put it in deferment when I should have. So yeah, it did for a long time until my uncle was like, "Hey, let me teach you something." And then I'm like, okay, good. Yeah.
I mean,
Did you have any other credit?
So that goes.
No, I didn't. Oh,
That's
yes,
why.
I did. Medical bills, and but
That
those were
was
$350, and I paid it off. But that was it.
right, but that's what I'm saying. You had no credit
No
like
good credit. All I
substantiated.
had
You
was that.
had
Yeah.
nothing but debt. That's the
Yes.
problem. That's
Yep.
why
But
it
then,
showed up. If you actually had good standing credit, that wouldn't have affected your credit score to that extent, is what Vias is trying to say.
no, I
Right.
get it. That's why I was asking, because it's
Well,
like
so
people assume because
well,
it's a low
that
credit score means it's a large amount of debt, which is not always the case.
well, Dad, to your point earlier, I personally, I'm not against, and I might poke fun at it, but I'm not completely against women not dating guys, bad brokies. I understand it, right? The To the point of what he's saying, all it is just understanding who it is that you're involving yourself with, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if your patterns is showing that you're negligent, you don't take care of business, you're immature, you're all of these things, then yeah, nobody should deal with you, be it if you're a man or a woman. I think that's irrelevant. And then even there was something that you were saying earlier before that video was playing. Everything that you named, even in Mistaken's situation, that's her being an adult. You know, that doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Women don't struggle with it more than men. Men don't struggle with it more than women. That's you being a responsible adult. So again, we gotta quit saying that women, making it seem that women have things harder than men, and where they have to make a sacrifice essentially for their marriage. Because I'm quite sure that there's sacrifices that Mistaken's husband had made, and he didn't want to do it. That's called being a responsible adult. That's what you do when you're a grown up and when you're in a committed relationship and marriage.
Because there's always the focus is always the end goal, right? If you make the focus about the right now, a lot of times you get stuck right there, right? You get tripped up. And I'm not gonna lie, and that took time. You know what I'm saying? Like in my younger years, I, spitfire, had that energy, and I'm like, you know. But as you get more seasoned, you begin to learn. And so that's why I don't know. I know this might be a little off topic, but I get a little frustrated with the men of saying, like, oh, after they've done all of this stuff in their 20s, now they want to be, respond. But that's what happens. Like in your 20s, when you're younger, that's the time that you are going to make mistakes for men and women. Whether it's relationships, whether it's finances, whether it's, end up getting pregnant by accident, you know what I'm saying? That's the time that your mind is still growing, right? And you're going to make mistakes, but the key is to learn from them. So when I hit my 30s, I should not be moving the same way that I was moving when I was 20. I should not be making those same mistakes. So the same thing in marriage, when you're at the beginning stages of your marriage, everything, is versus that honeymoon. But then when that real stuff start hitting, that's what matters. How do you move through that piece, right? How is there a give and take? Sometimes things when you go in thinking it's going to be one way, life happens and you got to adjust, right? Do you have that staying power? Do you have that perseverance? Do you always have the end goal in mind? And I think if you can do that, not just in marriage, but just in life in general, you'll be fine.
All right, let me just run this last clip, man. I'm gonna play this. Can y'all hear me? All right, here we go.
In there that the independent women may say, hopefully they didn't show
also,
themselves.
remember what independent woman means.
I ain't gonna lie, I don't care about that.
I know.
I personally think women need to hear reality.
No, 100%.
Because women are cuddled their whole lives. No one's, if a girl's overweight, No one's telling her like, hey, you know what I'm saying? But if you're a bigger guy, you're gonna get fat jokes every day. I tell my boy he big here all the time.
What up, Jeff? What up, Jeff?
Goddamn, you get what I'm saying? Like, but imagine if you tell that same joke to a woman. It's offensive.
Yeah.
Women get coddled
Yeah.
their entire lives.
Yeah.
So sometimes they may very well be delusional. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So saying stuff like, hey, you must sexually in order for a woman to submit, she needs to be dominated sexually, financially,
Facts.
Respect, and what's the other thing I think too?
Physically or no?
That was sexual.
Okay.
And the respect is kind of like not putting your hands on a chivalry. And it was fourth one that I said was very important. I don't think you need to dominate your woman socially, or you know how popular you are. That really doesn't matter. But I do believe sexually and financially are very, very important.
100%.
Like,
So for a female, to the men out there, receiving this information, a woman can't submit if there's no mission. That's why it's called submission, right? So if you don't have a destination in mind, she's gonna fill in the blanks for you, and she's just gonna have to figure it out. Right? So you can't get upset she's not submitting to you because you don't have a mission in place.
Facts.
The moment you have a mission, she is ready to multiply because she's ready to manage, because that's what she was put on this earth to do for you. But since you are not really putting her to work yet, she is then malfunctioning, which what you're calling is malfunctioning, being disrespectful, not submitting, doing what she wants, mouthy, however you want to call it, whatever you want to put in there as malfunctioning, you can do that. But she's not malfunctioning. You are just not using the equipment that you have at home correctly.
I want to talk about this. What are some of the
Yeah, no. See, I was with her at first, but that last part, by default, that sounds like by default, her reactions is going to be not submissive and mouthy and all this other stuff. If that's what you are, then that's what you are. I'm kind of torn by that, because that at that point that goes back to what I was saying the last show of, in order for you to submit, I have to tame you with my mission. Because if I don't, then you're gonna be mouthy and you're gonna be bitchy and you're gonna be doing this and doing all the shit she just said.
She didn't say
I think that's how other men would describe those women.
She didn't say nothing about taming. She said, in order for your woman to submit to you, you have to have a mission, meaning that she has to believe in something that you're doing. Believe that you're actually moving her and your family towards something. Because if you're not, then we got to move the family towards something. Now I have to pick up that load. Why would I submit to you if I have to carry everything? If I got to carry you, the family, and everything else, it doesn't make sense for me to submit to you.
Right.
So if I'm able to lean on you because you have a mission, because you have a purpose, because you're executing that purpose, and I can see that plan, then of course I'm going to just start falling in line to it, because I see that we're working towards something. It has nothing to do with taming a person.
No, I agree with her.
You didn't mean it like that. He didn't mean it like
that.
He didn't mean it like that.
Billy, you wasn't here the last time.
Word.
I went through a whole thing.
Baby got his words.
The regulator's not there. Like it doesn't exist.
No, we ain't regulating, man. No, stop that.
I agree with her, because when you submit, and that's something I really want to do a segment on for women who submit spiritually. When you submit, like I said, you submit spiritually. So when I was dating the good brokey, it's like he wouldn't even tell me where my money was going.
Why
to.
can't he
So
just
I
be a good
already
man?
knew
Damn.
Wait, let me finish.
Good brokey.
God damn.
When I was dating the good brokey, and that's the person with the mission, the person that was executing, the person that had a plan, the person that had it listed out, the person that was taking initiative, that person. my brain, when I was working, I had no fear about where my money was going to. I didn't. I always had the ambition to work. He always supported it. I didn't feel like me having a certain amount of money in him didn't affect his confidence. It didn't. But when I dated the opposite, no matter how much I would lift him and how much he would succeed, went from nothing to a degree, and he doing this and he doing that. He was doing it because I was just basically suggesting it. They weren't his suggestions. So it's like
What's
almost
wrong with that?
because I became stagnant spiritually. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like a natural thing. When you submit to a man, he got to have some type of mission, whether it's being a good father, whether it's a rapper, where it's this or that.
You
He has
just
to
you
have
just know
some
you
type
just
of mission in his head. And when I was started submitting, now I'm asking questions that's offending him, or now I'm
die.
stepping in
You
places that
literally just named off things that basically stated that he was doing better, even though because you were telling him to.
the viz he wasn't. But think about it. Once I told him to do that, because he didn't have a vision of getting a job in that career field. You go what I'm saying? He didn't know what he wanted to do in that career field. Just because I offered it and said, okay, this is something you good at, try it. He still got to have a vision to say, I want to take this to this place.
That's
I
why
want to
you
take
have a
this that
plan.
far. You know what I'm saying? And
No,
without, yeah,
I,
that's what I'm saying.
I understand that, but that comes with exposure. Most people can't be what they don't see. So if he was
And I
able
will
to
offer that, like,
just,
go to these places.
just
But if that's
let me
not where his
finish.
heart at, he's not gonna do it. You know
But
what I'm saying?
you said
That's just where I saw him at. But maybe that's not what he really wants to do. So he's not making as much effort. Like, he was getting those opportunities, but wasn't using those opportunities the way he was supposed to, if that makes any sense. He's not putting as much
the,
time as he's supposed to, because it was my idea. It wasn't
was
his vision. It wasn't his mission, if that
was
makes
he
sense.
doing you? But you said he was doing it though, right?
To get through school. But when it came to after school and once the diploma was got, it's like he got it to be like, oh, I did it. But that's not what he wanted to do. So when it came down to putting time into it and putting effort and initiative, I kept having to say, well, are you doing this? Are you, like, he wasn't taking initiative no more. And he had the resources. You just graduated from the school. So, you know, in college, you can ask them to place you, especially that first year. They can give you what's that called? Not scholarships, not networking, but when you internships, they give you internships.
Right.
And he wasn't taking the internship seriously. He wasn't taking the opportunity seriously. Even the teacher ended up coming back telling him, like, he was like, I want to get paid. And she was like, why would I pay you when you haven't been consistent as long as these people I'm paying? Finish out your internship. And I feel like he was being like kind of entitled, because like, well, I graduated, not this, but it's like it wasn't his mission. You know what I'm saying? That's like,
Well,
but then when
that
he
just
started
sounds like
on,
he lazy. Then that's
Or
just
it sounded like he was doing it for her,
just to keep
as
me, yeah,
as
for
opposed to
himself,
figuring
like,
out what it is he wanted for his life.
right.
So in order to keep her, I guess, satisfied or in the relationship, or prove to her that he's moving forward, he invested time and energy in something in a direction that he really didn't want to go.
Yeah.
just because it was better than the direction he was going at first, if that makes
He
sense.
had no mission.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
He had no
If
mission.
there's no
Yeah.
plan, it's hard to
Yeah.
follow. You weaning it. No one wants to wean in life. No one wants to go to the corner and don't know what's around. Although that's life, but who wants to be with someone who says, I'm gonna go to school, then after school, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna go to school with. No, I want to know, map it out. People thrive, their love build up when you give them, we're gonna turn here, we're gonna turn left, we're gonna turn B, we're gonna turn. People thrive off that because they know what's coming. A lot of people don't like surprises or to figure it out. Like who wants to figure it out? You know, at least if you give them a plan, it's easy for I'm just saying my experience, like Miss Taken said, I'm just going by my experience. I am the male dominant in my relationships, period. I am the lion's chair. I'm the provider. The women submit to me, but I am a person who always have a plan. So it's easy for these women to submit to me or to jump on my bandwagon because I have a plan. Now, and when I was younger, dating, I didn't have a plan, so it struggled. So what I do know for sure that by being a woman and dating a woman, women thrive off a plan, period. They need to know where they're going, how they're going, how we going to get there, drive them to the spot that you want to own the McDonald's. You may not have the money, but you're working on the credit. You're going to take over here. I'm going to buy this building, baby. Then I'm going to buy this. Women thrive off that.
No, the hell they don't. Y'all just talked about the Acrimony movie.
No,
and that's exactly what he was doing.
Just went clean over your head. I am saying.
No, it ain't. No,
okay.
I'm just fucking with
saying,
you.
Okay,
I'm just fucking with you.
Okay.
But,
okay. I would say no.
But I'm saying though, if everyone was using that movie as a reference, right? Mm-hmm. That's literally what he was doing, and she still
did he have a true plan?
Yes.
Okay, he had a plan and he was working towards it every single day, even while sometimes working a part.
As a fool.
But like we were saying, that was her fault. Everybody didn't say that though, Viz. Right. I even stated that was her fault. She put herself in that situation.
Now that was her fault. Now
that was her fault.
Married someone else.
No, somebody on here said it wasn't. I can't remember who it was. Somebody.
Well, I think part of the problem, and I haven't seen the movie, but just getting bits and pieces from what y'all are saying. I think a lot of times what happened, and I'm gonna say with men only because that was kind of what y'all was saying with the movie, is that, and I see it sometimes here, even in my house with certain things that my husband do. Men have difficulty multitasking, right? So when they have tunnel vision, even when it comes to career or a dream, right? That sometimes they don't know how to balance between working towards their dream, but also making sure they take care of the needs of the family, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like all in this dream, and they're pouring time, energy, effort into the dream while on the back end neglecting the other things that the women in the relationship are needing, right? So if as a woman, it's like, okay, we'll help you support your dream. But if you're pouring everything into that, I'm not getting poured into. Not only am I not getting poured into, I'm also pouring into you while you're working towards this dream and my needs aren't being met. Right. And then doing that for 15 years. No, y'all said 20 years. After 20 years, it does come to a breaking point, even if he makes it. In that time, in that space, in that moment, she reached her breaking point because while he was pouring into their dream for 20 years, she was not getting poured back into in them 20 years. No, right? I think that's the thing. A lot of times women are looking for men. We're not saying don't go after your dreams. Go ahead, go after it. But if you have responsibility of a family, you have to make sure that you are pouring into them as well. So even if you're going to your dreams, you may have to work at 25% of the time, but then you're working and you're hustling on the back end to take care of your family 75% of the time. So I think that's the part, like knowing how to find that balance, work towards your dream, but also taking care of primary responsibility instead of putting all of that on your significant other while you just get to focus on that one thing.
Yes,
I agree with that.
That's why I made the statement of a lot of women are just not built for certain things, man. They're just not built for it. Like a man will suffer through shit and put himself on a back burner and still power on, even though she's not pouring into a man, her husband. He'll still continue to power on and take care of the family, make sure they do what they do. But a woman, she has a time limit. She has a time limit. And that's why I was saying last week, a lot of ladies not built for marriage. You know, they love the idea. But when it comes to the better or the worst part, they don't want that. They want better for better. They don't want to deal with the worst. Once the worst come around, they ready to throw the white flag in and throw the towel in and ready to, get up through. They're not willing to work at it like a man is. So we as men, we understand that we're gonna have to do a little extra, a little harder because we know certain things are gonna happen. Now, I know y'all ladies was talking earlier in the show, talking about providing man. y'all realize a provider man is not going to be home working a 9-to-5 guy. You know, the guy that y'all want to provide for you financially, he may be working 6 to 7 days a week, especially if he's an entrepreneur. You might not hardly see him. He's working 14 to 15 hour days to try to provide to you so you can continue to be that stay-at-home trophy wife that you want to be. But I need for you to take care of the kids and be okay with just doing that. I don't know if a lot of ladies really willing to accept that. Not the ladies of 2024, because it sounds like y'all ladies want the treatment of the ladies from the 60s, but y'all act like the woman of 24, the modern woman, and don't want to do what some of the ladies of the 60s was willing to do.
What's the definition of the ladies of the 60s? I gotta get this definition before I take this in.
Well, man, being that you don't like to take nothing in, but I understand what you're saying.
I sure don't.
So,
that's why I need to take it in. I need to understand what you're saying because I'm not taking that in. It sounds like a little bullshit. Go ahead.
I got you. I'm about to explain it to you.
The way I just hollered.
Yeah. And that was a little disrespectful, but I'm gonna let that go. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on now. If you consider that disrespectful, I apologize to you, man. Right
Don't
on.
apologize because I said so. Apologize because you feel it's disrespectful. But go ahead and tell me.
I'm trying to get off that because certain individuals call me mean, so I'm trying to let that mean
it's all good.
go.
No, I want to understand your definition.
The women of the 60s
want to be treated like the 60s, but they have the mind of a 2024. I'm listening to this.
So the woman of the 60s was back then, they was willing to be content on being homemakers. You understand what I'm saying? They was content on staying at home, taking care of the family, making sure the kids are well taken care of. They didn't have this these dreams and ambitions of going out there and making their own money and doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about when I say the woman of the 60s.
That don't sound like the woman of the 60s. That sounds like someone who don't want anything in life. That's what that sounds like to me. I don't know how the women feel about it. That don't sound like a woman of 60. That don't sound like my grandmother, my aunties, my mother. That doesn't. It just doesn't sound like it. I thought you was gonna bring me something else.
Y'all look at it like as they don't want nothing in life, but in their life, raising their kids, taking care of their family, making sure their husbands are good, that was their life. That's what I'm talking about. Women of the 60s, they was good with that. They was content with that. The women of 2024, they would never think about staying at home and just being a homemaker. I remember Harrison Buckner got criticized for saying the best thing his wife ever done was being a homemaker and raising their kids. He got vilified for that shit. Because why? He said that's what my mom used to do back in her time and her grandmother used to do back in their time. They're not about that no more. So that's why I said it's a woman of the 60s.
I think that it depends on the woman.
Women know better, they do better, and that's kind of what you're seeing in 2024. When they know better, they do better. So that they know better, they're going to want more. They still want their kids to thrive in life. They still want to be homemakers, but they are stepping into another lane, which a lot of people are not comfortable with. They're stepping into another lane to where they're becoming CEOs, where they're being the bosses. That's what you're seeing. I thought you was gonna say that they have more on their plate that make them different, not the 60s, 2024. What makes the women different now is they want more. That's it.
Okay. So, ma'am,
if I can interject,
you're not acknowledging that you want to be, you really taking care of your kids. If you're out here trying to be a boss chick, you're out here trying to be a
woman can be a boss chick and make sure her kids good.
Hell no.
And that's what I was just about to say. Like, let me just add one thing real quick. I think it's two things you want to consider. You want to consider what the woman wants, right? You made a statement about women are not like the women in the 60s anymore. Well, even my grandmother, she had 7 kids, but she worked. It even got to a point where her husbands, like the men she was with, they all eventually passed away. You know, men died. Some men died early back then. One from
or left and went out south and left the whole damn family.
Right, different situations. My grandmother had hired a nanny back in the day. She worked. She was a working class woman. I work. I have 3 children. I hold it down. I make good money. I'm also an entrepreneur on top of working, and I'm still at my kids' games and doing all sorts of things. So I think it's about that harmony. Miss Taken kind of mentioned it earlier. Men kind of have that tunnel vision, one track mind, and they think it's either all or nothing. And that's not how it is. It's about finding that harmony, that balance, that flow, where a woman can do what makes her happy. It's important to pour into yourself, to create your own happiness so that you can pour into other people. You can't pour from an empty cup. A woman should not just fully dedicate herself to just raising children and children alone. You have to find your happy place too. And I'm a huge advocate for that. And I think oftentimes that rhetoric causes women to lose themselves. And then that eventually will affect your marriage and everything else. Like, that's just an outdated, toxic mindset.
Well, Britt,
so Billy, did you hear what Brittany just sit there and express herself? That's why I say they are not like the mindset. They are not moving like the women of the 60s, because they will be okay with just, y'all make it sound like being just a housewife is a bad thing.
It's nothing wrong if that's what that woman wants, but everybody's different.
It sounds like, I understand, but it's you making it sound like it's depressing, like it's the worst thing ever.
You definitely have to make time for yourself. Pouring into anything 100% of the time is not a good thing.
My grandmother was born in 1946. And when I tell her y'all talk like this on this podcast, she asked me, how old are y'all? And that's old. My grandma said she wanted to work because she wanted to work. She liked what she did. She genuinely liked what she did, just like the nurse next door. She loved helping people. She loved being there, helping the doctors. She loved her patients. She loved being around them. She liked giving back and pouring into them. They took a lot of women books out the Bible, but sometimes God have ordained women with a purpose too. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of women out here who needs help, who needs guidance in order to fix our communities. And sometimes we have that mission too. So y'all have to remember, like, it's not all about just being independent and singling y'all out. And I think that's what y'all think when y'all see women who are successful. And it's not that. It's just sometimes we like helping people. And sometimes depending on where you're the stage you're successful in, like managers, they have groups of people under them that they help, just like people who, CEOs, they're doing it to help people. And like I said, God give women purpose too.
I also think we need to take into consideration. Hold on, let me just give. I also think we need to take into consideration that over the history of time, there's really never been a time in history where Black women didn't work. Right? Before we were able to actually get jobs, we worked as nannies in other people's homes, even when we had children, even when our husbands could work. So there's never really been a time in history where women or Black women, in the majority I'm speaking, only stayed at home. We didn't get that privilege. We still had to do something. We were nannies. We went out. We cleaned people's houses. Black women have always worked to some capacity and always did something extra than just taking care of our own children. That's why you will talk to other cultures and they will say, like, Black women have been the mothers of everyone, because literally historically that has always been Black women's role. We've always worked. It's never been a time where Black women didn't contribute in some type of way, even if her man was out and about, and like you stated, traveled and everything else working. Yeah, he brought in more, but we still contributed.
So again, I understand that, and they did it on a part-time basis, but they also had pride in taking care of kids. Let me say you this: the most important investment you have is your kids. But see, a lot of women in 2024, they don't think that. It's my job, it's my career, it's about how much money I make and how much I accomplish. Yeah, a lot of y'all ladies shaking heads, but I heard y'all talk on these platforms. I even mentioned it, Daddy, you talking about Lisa Ray said nothing about family. You know what she was bragging about? How much money she breaks, how accomplished she is. She never bragged about how good of a mother she was, how she raised her kids to be successful, or whatever the case may be, because they don't take pride in it no more like they used to. It's like beneath them all. That's the second or third thing on the list. How much money do I bring in? How successful? How many accomplishments do I have? That's the thing about it. a woman of the 60s, they would take pride in how well the kids raised, what college they. Man, look, again, y'all go ahead. Y'all feel the way you feel. As us men, we see it a little bit differently, but I understand.
That just seems like an extremist thought.
Can I give you some history? Some history real quick. I'm sorry, Brittany.
Wait, we supposed to be letting Kim go next.
I think Kim's supposed to be talking next.
I just wanted to give you a bit of history, but
yeah.
So my question,
I'm here for Billy. I'm here for it.
My question is for Billy, because she mentioned something about 5 minutes ago. She did say that when she dates, the people that she dates are they date her, and she knows because she has a plan. She knows exactly what she's doing. She doesn't need to be led per se. So that makes sense. And I say that to say this. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Miles Monroe, pastor. One of the things he talks about, or he talked about, and is very good. If I can find it, I'll put it in the chat. He talks about purpose, and initially when people are wanting to get married, that in order for all of it to work in a healthy manner, the first thing that the man has to have is purpose. And a lot of people, or he created work. A lot of people confuse work with work being physical work that we do. And that's actually not true. He said the first thing that a man needs is to find work, meaning purpose. He has to find his purpose. You can have purpose and have a job. They're not synonymous. If it's synonymous, that's great, right? So you find your purpose, you find your work. He created work for the man because he knew how important it was going to be for him. Then he created the woman as the helpmate. Now, the things that do need to be taken into account, and I do agree with the women in this aspect, Black women have not been afforded the luxury as our non-Black women counterparts, and we have worked. And the other things, if we look at our non-Black women and the marriage rates, and we look at all the things just side by side, there does you do have to take socioeconomic background to account, and race cannot not be, it can't not be excluded. And I say that to say we have been homemakers, and historically we have had to take care of everybody plus ourselves. It is just now that we're kind of taking a step back and saying, okay, we got to take care of ourselves first. When you look at the marriage rates, and you look at, if you even look at mortality rate in Black women, it kind of screams at you, if you will. Mortality rate is up. Yes, it is in all women, but it's still significantly higher in Black women. I think the want to work and to have a purpose from a woman's behalf, I don't think it's solely out of, yes, she has purpose, but I think some of it has to do with kind of like you have insurance when you're sick. I think you just need to have some, I call it, you want to have some backup to know that you're going to be okay in the event that something doesn't, go right. But I think a lot of working women they do well from what I see, working and pouring into the home. I think what it has to do is the healthiness of the woman, because you can have a job. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. Yes, you can be masculine, but you can also still be feminine at home. But you can still, I believe, you can still pour in equally into your home, raising your kids, keeping your home up, decorating your home, looking feminine, pouring into your community. All those things are actually very feminine. When you're pouring, when you have your purpose too, you're actually, because God gives men purpose, yes, but he also gives women purpose. Like I'm not saying men can't nurture, but they don't nurture to the degree. So you don't have healthy communities if you don't have nurturing, just like you don't have healthy communities if you don't have masculine leadership. There has to be equal balance. And if one's out of sync, it's not going to work. So for instance, if I date a man and I'm high in my purpose and he's not, we're already walking it. It's not going to work because he doesn't have his, and it's going to be chaotic. And I'm going to not lead necessarily because I want to, but because it's not going to be equally yoked. That is the perfect way to describe it. We're not going to be equally yoked. I'm going to be in mine, and it's going to come off as masculine, and it's not going to be expressed the way it should be. Now, if I'm finding my partner that's equally yoked, my gifts are going to come out as nurturing. They're going to come out in a feminine essence. They're going to be very divine, very soft. If I'm unequally yoked, it's going to come off as masculine, not equally yoked. There's going to be discord in my home. And I don't think that I would be able to give my gifts back to the community. It's not going to be balanced. Does that make sense?
Yes, because I feel like when I was leading, I had to say at times, like, this is emotional. We can't be on this right now. We need to be looking towards this. And you're like, but that's what you're supposed to do for me. And I'm like, but we can't focus. We've been focused on that for like too long. We need to get to this money. We need to get out this situation. And right now, you just finished school. I just finished school. So now it's the next step. You got to get these internships done. But I'm tired. And now I'm coming off masculine because I don't want to entertain your emotions. Because right now, I got to figure out the next move because you're not taking initiative. So I agree. And I agree with Hank that the woman in acrimony, the reason why her situation went wrong, because she was complaining the whole time. And that's why I said men got to be careful who they date, because they'll date women who's on the surface doing what they're supposed to do, but they're regretting it the whole minute. Like, I hate doing this. And then they got women in their ear telling them that you don't have what you deserve. There should be more out of this by pouring into you for this long. They're not doing it with like a genuine heart to see, because if she was doing with a genuine heart, I would have been asking questions like, so what did you do different last time than this time? Okay, where are you at now? What mistake did you make? Oh, do you remember last time you told me this? You told me that didn't work, and you told me, you know what I'm saying? But that lady was just sitting around just waiting, like just waiting, just not like really motivating him and pouring into him. She was just there with the wrong mindset. And then soon as she left, come to find out she was the problem, because she really didn't believe, because her sisters told her not to believe. She didn't have faith in that man. She was just like there doing what she was supposed to do, but she wasn't fully submitted spiritually. She was just like, she was still pulled back and judging him and had a negative mind frame the whole time she was there supporting him. And
But
he was still checking on her, like, he was still checking on her like, you cool? Okay, I'm sorry about this and this and that. When he noticed she was overwhelmed, he cared. Like, he genuinely cared and talked to her and tried to do things. And he just wasn't, and they didn't have kids yet. So it's not like he was missing time with the kids or anything. It was just her. And if she would have told him, hey, I need you to sleep with me tonight, or I need this or that, he would have been there. Sometimes he couldn't be there because he was so like, being an engineer is different than somebody just working a 9 to 5 to, you know what I'm saying, to invest something. He had to use his hand, his mind, his mentality, and she was just the mind frame she had while she was there with him. I believe 100% contributed to why their situation took as long as what it did.
But if you look at it, I think a lot of times too, and this is where we have to take responsibility. And I can speak for myself. When you look at the marriages of our grandparents versus today, the big piece that's missing, I think, and I believe, is the component of being equally yoked. And if people were to go back and look at being equally yoked from the beginning, there's a lot of things that would even be taken into consideration. Like a lot of the, the checklists and a lot of the, well, I want him to A, B, and C, or same thing with the guy. I want her to be A, B, and C. All those things are great, but equally yoked is a lot deeper. And I think that's why a lot of marriages lasted. And I'm not saying that they were all happy. That's not what I'm saying. But equally yoked, there's a lot that we're missing there as far as equally yoked.
So with being equally yoked, that's not something that you're both just going to come into it as.
Right.
I don't think that's how that works. How it works is you both parties come together and we're both on the same page, and we're both willing to do whatever it takes, regardless if you're making more, I'm making less, whatever the case may be. If we're both here for the same objective,
correct,
that's what being equally yoked is.
Correct.
But from the example that you gave, that's not what the expectation is. It seems like it's more added on to it. Correct. Compared to what it was.
Well, equally yoked is like a yoke is already whole. You don't put a yoke together. So equally yoked is coming to the table at some point where y'all equal, whether it's the same mind frame, whatever it is. Equally yoked is just what it is. It's whole. So you need to be whole at some point when you meeting someone. You can't.
That only happens when you marry, though.
Not necessarily. You can be equally yoked meeting somebody while you're dating them. That's why you get married, because you equally yoked when you met them.
You're not one until you're married. So that's when you become equally yoked.
No, that's not. You become one when you're married. Equally yoked is two different entities from being one and being equally yoked. Yoke is coming whole. It's whole. That's when you come to the table.
Right.
When you're married, you become one. That's when you become a covenant. It's two different things. I know what you're saying, but you can't put those at the same thing and say it's the same, because it's not. It's not, because people come together not equally yoked and still get married. and they become one. You can become one and not be equally yoked. So don't put that in the same bucket because it's not the same.
I think
What I'm saying is that if they're not equally yoked, if they're not on the same page before they get married, then of course they're not going to become whole. That's why I made the clear statement of if both parties are on the same thing, they both have the same objective, and then they come together and get married, now you are equally yoked.
I think
that's wrong.
Part of being equally yoked also is saying, before you look at the superficial stuff, is for a woman, for example, at my age would be, okay, do I want to be a wife? So if the answer is yes, okay, I proceed. What do I see myself as a wife being? And then I would have to answer that question, whatever, a wife looks like. And am I able to be a helpmate? Am I able to be of sound body myself? Like, am I healthy? Am I in the right place? What are the things that I'm prioritizing? So if I'm prioritizing, like Hink said, if I'm prioritizing family, if I'm prioritizing my family and my husband and my household, okay, then I can move forward. To me, unequally yoked would be if I'm, I want a marriage, but I'm dating for more materialistic reasons, more reasons for comfort, then that's not equally yoked. Or also, if you're marrying somebody, like you said, if you're marrying and you're kind of hoping for potential, that's great. But I'm of the belief that when you date somebody, marry somebody, you have to be, in a sense, willing to accept where they are. Now, if they grow and y'all get better, that is great. But potential and the wanna, or the maybe, coulda, shoulda, woulda, that's where I think that's not going to come into play. And then one of the biggest factors is if you're a spiritual person or, you Christian, that foundation has to be set first. But the other component is just because a man is good or a woman is good doesn't mean you're good for them either.
For
One
sure.
thing that I just wanted to say about the yoke part is sometimes I think we get caught up in thinking that equally yoked means that we all come with the same, attributes, the same things in order to be on the same page. But it is a level of being well aligned, right? So I remember hearing a pastor say that equally yoked could also look like if you have two strong like animals, right? Bulls, and you're headed in a direction and both of them are equally strong, but one want to go this way and one go that way. Technically, they're equally yoked in terms of size and strength, but they're not going to go in a direction that they need to. If one is going this way and one is going that way, they're going to be at a standstill. But the other aspect of equally yoked, if I put two horses, one have the right leg that's weak and the other one have a strong left leg, like they're going to move in the same direction because the one that is weak in this area is able to pull in the other area so they can both head in the same direction. So in that, having that mindset, that means you're going to meet people, you're going to meet your mate that y'all may not be equally yoked if you have that mindset of saying, oh, we don't have this, we don't have that, both of us are not on the same page about this, but not seeing that one person's weakness is the other person's strength, which will then help move y'all in a direction. Like me and my husband are not of the same religion, but I learned from him, I can pull from him, and vice versa, he pulls from me. And so we both have these things that we can both pour into our children and make our children even better. So it's about finding the alignment and seeing like, okay, if they're weak in all areas and you strong in all areas, that still may not be equally yoked because you're going to be dragging the other person along.
And I agree.
So it's about the balance.
I agree. To give you a simple example, my grandmother was the one with a high school education, which was rare for them back then. My grandfather could only read at a 3rd or 4th grade reading level. Now, if you look at today, a lot of times you'll say, we have the terms high value, whatever you want to say. A woman wants a man 6 figures, blah, blah, or makes what I make or whatever. Well, if I look, I just kind of compare it to my grandparents' marriage. She was the reader. He could only read till 3rd grade. But like you said, what was his strength? He was a hard worker. So he worked at a plant for 40 years. They didn't have all the, like the mass that they do now. But this man went to work 6 days a week. She didn't work. She was a homemaker. Very simple people. But whenever it was time to buy a house or to do business things, she was the reader. He was the one who had the money. So they balanced. They had a common goal, which was, so you were absolutely correct. Today, if you ask somebody, most people, would you date somebody that couldn't read? Or that, just things like that. An example, they may be taken aback, like, well, no, they got to be able to read, or, but if you look at it, that's not what my grandparents did at all. They actually did the opposite. One was the worker, one could read, one could provide, and the other one took care of the assets because she knew what to sign and what not to sign and how to look at things like that. So you're right. She went to work. She took care of the home. And I know that's an old school example, but it's an example of they had strengths, they had weaknesses, but when they were paired together, the two, they were equally yoked.
And that goes back to Hink.
What year was this? You was talking about your grandmother. What year was this?
Hold on, Hink. Let me just say this real quick. So that goes back to what Hink was saying earlier, for one. Two, I do want to address something that was said earlier about mistaken, and Ty said it too. We take away the most men only know to have tunnel focus, tunnel vision on a goal or a plan, because that's what's been instilled in us since we were children. Because we understand that we have to provide for our families, right? So if that is our main focus, then that's going to be the primary goal. Now, in most cases, it's difficult, again, for most men to not understand the importance of that balance, because they may not have seen it. They may not have been in a position to see their father do the same thing. Maybe by the time their dad got home, they was in bed, and then he poured into, his wife or whatever, whatever type of way. So I think that men figure that out over time. I don't think that that's something that they understand right off bat, as far as with understanding the importance and the value of that balance. Until then, it's me just solely being focused on getting this one thing done, because I know that once I get it done, I'm gonna create this environment for my family where I can feel comfortable. I know my wife and my kids can be comfortable, and that's all that most men do. So I understand the frustration that women could have or do have with it, but if you love that man, then you should be able to understand and help him find that balance, because that's the only way that it's going to happen. I just wanted to say that.
To answer you, and I agree with you. I agree with you. To answer your question, Hank, my grandparents got married in the 1940s.
So around the 60s, they was coming up doing their thing. Stay at home wife. Yeah, Brittany. You ladies, boy, y'all a trip. Y'all, where my buddy Billy? Billy, bring your ass back here if I say something crazy.
But I will say this:
like this didn't happen. I go down. Like it. Look, not every woman worked. I understand it, and a lot of them some worked part time. They had part time jobs, but they still was make sure they was there to see the kids off. See the kids when they got off the bus and take care of the house. Make sure a man had a hot plate. Do you think 2024 half these women can't cook?
But here's
they can't boil goddamn water.
Here's the thing that I have to
take into account. A goddamn full meal for the whole family together. They can't do it. You know how they cook? We're gonna DoorDash some food. That's what they consider making sure they provide a meal.
But what has to be understood
about are men building houses like that though too, Hank? Because at the same time, like you're saying, those certain expectations that men had of women back then, there was a level of rearing that they had, the environment. Women were trained to be wives. They were taught to cook. They were taught to clean. Whereas men were also taught to fix cars, taught to build homes, their own homes by hand. Men are not doing those same things today, just like you're saying the women aren't. Modernization is, wait, hold on. Modernization causes changes when you have, technology advancements and things like that. people tend to lose skills that they don't use anymore. Like my mom, you knew how to sew, right?
When did y'all stop eating?
Clothes.
When did y'all stop eating?
No, but what I'm
Mistaken?
saying is,
Some of y'all, you realize we one of the obese countries in the world.
The reason women,
when did we stop eating?
No, I'm not saying that you didn't stop. I'm not saying that you stopped eating. What I'm saying is the cooking thing is no longer necessarily as needed back then, because back then they didn't make as much money to eat out. You had women that didn't work as many hours as that they are required to do, depending on their careers. It didn't take two dual incomes or always to make a home. So women have less time. So out of need, you end up having other things that are created. So you've got your DoorDash, you've got your pre-made meals and all of those things. People aren't growing gardens to get their own food. So what I'm saying is technology changed the way.
Gardens then, though, mistaken. They didn't have the room to grow gardens. You didn't have the room. You had a small little plot of land. They on a half an acre.
Listen to what I said. Listen, you're saying, when did we stop needing to eat? When did we stop needing to have shelter? What I'm saying is, you're not building the shelter by hand. My grandfather built their house that my parents grew up in, right? She just said her grandfather built their house. Those are skill sets that men came with when they had a family. But over the years, as technology advanced, you did not need to have those skills, right? So you have majority of men that don't know how to build a home, don't know how to take care of a car. What I'm saying is, you got to look at it the same way.
Who you think take care of these cars? Who you think's are working on cars? We don't have machines fixing cars yet. We don't have robots fixing cars and building houses. Men still are doing these things.
You're moving
I'm not moving the goalposts. You saying you acting like men are not doing these things.
You're talking about other men. You're talking about other men doing a job that the husbands did. You're paying somebody, another man, to do the job that husbands used to do.
Every man didn't work on the car in the 60s. Every man didn't work on the car in the 60s. Mistaken? Every man didn't work on the car in the 60s.
And every woman didn't stay at home.
Housewives either.
Every woman didn't stay at home.
Housewives.
That's
knew how to cook. They knew how to take care of their kids. They knew how to
women now that know how to take care of kids.
Matter of fact, they knew how to stay married. They knew how to make certain sacrifices.
Now that's my issue.
What they do for their kids more than the men that they're dating.
They are not willing to
that women are not.
You keep implying that there's these women that aren't willing to do these
things. They said as soon as
not
a man loses his job, they are out of the house. They are no longer going to be with him because he can no longer maintain. Yeah, the women are not willing to go 50-50. They're not willing to do that. They expect you to provide 100%.
Can you really just listen and process?
A clean home. You don't willing to get in that kitchen or cook a good meal. You're not willing to do that.
Hank, can you just
let me say this? Your mammy probably didn't teach you how to cook because she could cook.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Women are doing both. They're working. They still
I just really needed you to take a moment.
And some of them are more proud about what they do.
I just needed you to take a moment. Hank, I just need you to take a moment, process what I said, because I think you're thinking that I'm trying to hold on.
I heard every other lady that was going against me. And I'm okay with that.
What you're thinking that I'm doing is trying to downplay men, but what I'm really not. What I'm trying to do.
That's all y'all been doing all right. That's all you've been doing.
That's how you're taking it. All I'm doing is drawing a comparison to what.
I'm listening to the conversation.
I'm just drawing a comparison to something that you said that applies to both of us. That's all I'm saying. You said half of these women don't know how to cook. Back then, they did these things. What I'm saying is the same thing. Back then, men knew how to fix cars and build houses, but they don't do those things. You're saying women don't cook and they outsource those things to other people instead of doing it themselves. I'm saying men outsource those responsibilities to other men and they don't do it themselves. That's all I
They
was saying.
always did though. Mistaken,
Even
they
with cutting the
always did.
lawn,
Let me
even with
say
cutting the
this.
grass.
Let me
Hold on.
say this.
Even with
He
cutting
is
the
trolling
let
y'all
me say
because he
this.
married to a woman that do all of this apparently. So his whole
Yes.
There you go. There you
generalization
go.
of all women
Exactly.
don't do this and they
Mhm.
can't do this. Hink loves to troll. We have to stop feeding into Hink. Just let
Exactly.
him do his
My
little
wife,
trolling,
my
and we're
wife.
gonna move on
Go,
without
go,
that.
go, talk about my wife, Ty. Talk about it. My wife cooks.
She does it right.
She cleans.
She cooks.
She
She
washes my
cleans.
dirty ass drawers. She
So
takes
then
care of
all women
that
don't do
crap.
it. So
I
then
don't.
you just made my point
Good luck.
that you're a troll.
She cleans
Exactly. And I do
baseboards,
that too.
filling
Yeah, he
fans.
made your point
All
too.
that gets taken care of. I
He
don't do
trolls.
that. Let me tell you what I do.
Is the little
I
But
take
girl
out the
Hank,
that
I
trash.
bet you that if you can be a fly on the wall when she talk to her girlfriend, when
No,
she
we
on
don't
the
do that either.
phone
She
and
don't
you
do
not
that shit.
around, oh, what you don't know, Hank? Hey, Hank, I'm
Shit.
here for you. I'm telling you.
Where's
I'm
she at?
telling you,
Where's she
Hank,
at?
listen to me.
She
When
in
you
the
not
chat.
hold on, Hank. When you're not around, Hank, if you could be a fly on the wall,
Let me
she talk to
call
her
her right now. Shit, what you
man.
talking about?
You
Y'all forgot who
crazy,
y'all
Hank.
talking to.
And if you don't
Y'all
believe it,
forgot who
Hank,
y'all
come on.
talking
You the man, Hank. You gotta know
Billy.
she's talking to a friend, Hank.
Billy, you
Telling
don't know me, ma'am. Ma'am, you
I'm
don't know me,
telling
but
you,
I'm gonna let
it
you get
don't
to
matter.
know me.
It don't
You
matter
keep
how you
listening.
got it on lock, how you got it on, how, and she's probably a good woman. I know she is because you look good. You look good because you got a good woman. Okay, you look well maintenance because you got a good woman. I'm telling you. So know when you're
Let me
not
say that.
around those things
Look.
that she talk about.
I
That's all.
got you. All these demands I expected I make, that's because that's what I accept. That's what I don't put up with that bullshit. These men are talking. I don't put up with that shit. You heifers can't clean, you won't be with me. You can't cook, you won't be with me. I don't deal with crazy ass heifers talking about they won't go to hell. For what? You ain't worth shit. You are good for a piece of ass, and I'm gonna get you to them goddamn streets. But I got a real one. That's why she's blessed with my last name. I don't deal with this bullshit y'all talking about.
Yes,
I'll be goddamn if I deal with it.
Yeah.
Mistaken
In
said
my
something
generation,
slick.
they don't have a problem
What'd you
with
say,
cooking and
Mistaken?
cleaning.
Ain't nobody said that. She just
You
said
heard
that, Hank? You heard that? You heard that?
He said, I heard her say something.
Man,
I know her. Billy, I know her. I know she said something slick. You ain't got to try to
I hear you.
sugarcoat.
I hear you. I'm just trying to give you.
I like messing with you, Hank.
I'm just trying to get you to think over kind of to the right a little bit. You know, just it just goes both ways with everything. It just
That's
goes
all I
both
was
ways
saying.
with everything.
That's
And
all
He
I
know
was
that
saying.
mistaken. He know
The men
exactly
of the
what you're saying.
60s are
And
not
that's
like the
what
men of the
Hink
20s,
look.
24s, just
This is
like
why
the women
Hink is
are.
here.
it's just
Okay, he keep
goes
the
both
I'm gonna
drama
say it
ways.
going.
again.
It
Fizz,
wouldn't
I
be a
can't relate
fun
to
Hey.
what they
show if it
talking
wasn't
about.
Hink.
Hey,
I can't relate.
but mistaken. I'm pretty sure every woman on the panel almost they don't want the men that was from back in the day, because apparently those men weren't emotionally intelligent and soft and knew how to have that balance. We hear women talk about it all the time with the toxic masculinity. So those are all the things that men were back in the day. Women don't want men to be like that anymore, and they openly speak about it.
And then the men, as far as our generation, the early 30s, because most women, I ain't gonna lie, they are cooking. My friends that single mothers, they cook, they clean, but they got bad attitudes. They entitled because of that. Like I don't have to come with no emotional intelligence because I come with some money and I cook and I clean. So they just be like, for the most part, they just be feeling like I could do
Hell
whatever
no.
because I come with both.
Yeah, I don't deal with that
Well, I don't
bullshit.
have that experience. My
Leave that
friends
heifer at the restaurant.
who are married, they cook, they clean, they work, they take care of their kids, they're emotionally
So that
intelligent.
all your friends
They
clean
have
and
all
cook
that.
now. Is that what we're saying? All of them
I
cook
didn't
and clean.
say. I said my friends.
Everybody
Di
I
gave an
roll with the
example.
exception of one
Right.
person that I know.
I don't cook.
Di example was
I'm
that
the
they were
person, Hank. I
emotionally
don't cook.
intelligent.
I try to cook. I
I could
try.
cook.
I can make some good
clean.
stir fry from
I'm
scratch and
emotionally
some Italian
intelligent.
dressing.
Like, it's
But
not
that,
all women.
but
So
let me,
I'm grouping everybody.
but Dad, did you hear
It's
what
like
you
it's
said?
not
You
all
said you
men.
tried. At least you put
I
forth the
try.
effort.
I try.
I mean, you know, sometimes that's all a man asks for is that at least you put forth the effort. Some of these
Hey,
heifers
how
not
long
even.
you been married? Because you talk like you've been in these streets and
Some of these
these
heifers don't even want to go to the kitchen.
married. How long you
Billy,
been married? How long you been married?
Since
How long you been
August.
married? Oh, Hank. Oh, Lord. I'm being.
Yes.
Did you just say since August? Wait, you've been doing all this talking. You only been married for a little over a year.
Oh, Hank.
Oh my God.
He controls y'all.
He said you said a little over a year.
Understand.
I thought no, that's
No,
not
it
even
was-
half.
We need to be listening to this.
Hold on,
4 months.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Brittany, that's 4 months.
Oh shoot! I'm thinking. Look at
Hold on,
me.
y'all.
I'm
Hold
thinking
on.
God, I'm thinking last August. I'm giving you more credit. Yes,
Oh,
since
go
August.
ahead.
That's
Go
less
ahead.
than a year.
Hold on. He got something to say. Go ahead.
So, ladies, I was married prior to this one, right? You know, this wasn't my first marriage, and I was with her for over 15 years. So it's not like I don't know anything about marriage. This first time ever doing it. No, she's just the second one that got blessed. You understand what I'm saying? That's all. Now, ladies, I'm trying to tell y'all, men don't have to accept certain things. That's why we have these options, and we need to take advantage of it. That's why I try to teach these men on how to deal with certain women. You can't cook, you can't clean a house, you can't act like you got some goddamn sense. Yeah, you just fuck on them heifers. But the ones who know how to do that, and one knows how to hold her tongue, she ain't acting all silly. She ain't talking about, I ain't taking no broke man. I don't want to build with no man. I'm not gonna willing to work with a man. You get one of them good ones, shit, you got you a solid one. I tell dudes all the time, if you got a good woman, you hold on to her. Because these heifers out here now in 2024, they ain't about their business. They ain't about shit.
Okay.
Nope.
And you just found a heifer in 2024 and married her? Stop trying to make it sound like good
No, I
girls
didn't.
are not
I
out
didn't.
there when you married one.
I didn't marry
And that is my issue is that he keeps talking about everybody in the hole.
I married a lady. I married a heifer. I married a lady.
Earlier today, you made a comment insinuating that
Aisha,
black
you got to come on
women
camera.
naturally-
You got to come on. You won't talk to me. You got to come on camera.
Okay.
You got to come on camera. You won't call my name.
You made a comment
There we go.
earlier about how white women, how black men go and get white women, right? And I want to just say that white women are the main ones who teach their little girls to go out and find a rich man, right? My mom taught me to go get it on my own. Whatever that man does for me, that's a bonus. My mama never sat me down and was like, you need to go to college and find a rich man. When I got to college, my white friends were like, I am here to get an MRS degree. I literally thought it was a degree, and they were like, no, a Mrs. degree. I'm just here to find a husband. So I feel like that, what you said, is untrue. The fact that you keep insinuating that the women on this panel are women of today who have children, like, we don't want to be mothers. I don't understand that statement, and I don't understand why you kept saying that, because that's absolutely not true. It's 2024. If we didn't want to be mothers, we wouldn't have kids. They got a plan B, C, whatever. These women,
people want to be mothers.
That's why when they started making these rules and passing these laws, they was mad about that shit. When they start shutting down at women of deleting the kids, they had a problem with that. You know why? Because they don't want to be mothers. Women are now, they don't want to be more than ever. What are you talking about, Aisha?
actually, that's not true.
Some
Because
people ready to do everything they can to get rid of them damn kids. They can't stand the kids. Matter of fact, some of y'all look at y'all daughters and y'all get jealous of them because they're younger, more prettier, and more vibrant.
Oh, Hank, now you pushing it.
Yeah,
the birth rate has gone down across the board.
Billy.
You pushing it, Hank.
Billy, you know I'm right. Billy, you know I'm right.
You pushing it. You pushing it. You pushing it now. No.
Let me get y'all. We get up out of here.
Yeah, let's get up out of here before Hank push it too much.
Mills, 36. I agree with the ladies 100. And Coco looking nice.
Yeah,
Travis,
Coco do look nice.
$5 says she just proved my point. Even though you cut him off, he still got you. You just did with a favor, and he helped him move to the next. Harrison Davis, $5 says salute. A moment of clarity with Blacksmith Rise, $5 says God said in the Bible for you, woman, to be silent and submit to your husband. God never said to submit only if he knows woman approval. You're wrong. Michael, that one, Mike Newell, $2. Also a member. Women used to get happiness out of raising their kids. And lastly, Michael again, $5 says, man, our women are so delusional. I see why 75% not married. The way they speak is all selfish, just listening to them sounds, all selfish and out of order. Well, thank you for contributing to the platform. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel.
I bet you Mike's single.
Today. Catch us